Good evening. Hello. What's happening? How is everybody? We got MJ, APOC, James Sweets, and over on Discord, who is this? Who is that? Is that Shane? We got to get you an avatar so I can. Yeah, there we go. It's Shane. What's up, Shane? It just has a green standard. Yeah. What's up, Blind Psychonaut? How are you? Good evening. We got Raz over there on Rumble. What's happening, Mr. Mission Control? Richard in Texas. I see you guys. Sweets. We got Fred. What's happening, guys? Good evening. Hello. If I missed you, well, we'll circle back and get you. Troubled Mind starting in about 15 seconds. Here we go. Hold on to your butts. Commercial Herschel over there on Kick. Here we go. Troubled Mind's happening now.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0 1
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. Asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And tonight, I got a weird one for you. I got a wild one for you. You know me, I like to think about bizarre things and manifest them along with you guys by dark of night. I was thinking, well, about a lot of things. Wait, did I say all the things? We are broadcasting all those places, also on 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. That's the Underground Media Network. And of course, as usual, we're taking your calls tonight at 702-957-1037, and you can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Come say hi, come meet a lot of the amazing folks that make this show go. And yeah, Discord's the place to be. It's where you get all the announcements of, we get extra shows, which sometimes we do, by the way. On Friday nights, we've been doing Discord shows and also on Twitter X. So if you didn't know that, well, you would know that if you were on Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord yet, please do that, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. It's free. It's a chat client, voice client, completely free. Come say hi. And we do use it to take phone calls as well as part of the show. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I was thinking, all right, you know me, when I get to thinking, things you strap actually fasten the seatbelts because, sometimes the ideas that come out of my head. Well, as usual, I'm scanning the news cycles and I'm like, okay, well, let's see if we can find anything interesting, right? Anything interesting that's worthy of discussion here and putting some ideas together, or I don't know. It's complicated, right? Per usual, the whole idea of these conversations are complicated because we're trying to combine the past with the present to sort of formulate what the future might look like. Okay. Synthesize a lot of data, a lot of ideas that don't get a ton of traction, and really kind of manifest them forward as just part of, our personal interjection into the zeitgeist itself. Now it starts with this. Now, all these links are going to be in the description down below. evolutionnews.org is the actual website that I got this from. And it's pretty wild, right? Check this out. This is a, number 4 story of 2024. This is published on the 29th, which is today. Happy almost New Year. We're almost there. We almost made it, fam. Darwin's abominable mystery corroborated again. Now, Darwin's abominable mystery is one of those things that if you guys study Darwin at all, there are gaps in the evolutionary sequence of how he described it. And in his own words, that's what he called this in a letter to, I can't remember who he wrote this letter to, but he wrote it describing an actual, sudden and unexplained explosion of flowering plants in the fossil record. Okay. And I think it was specifically in the Cretaceous or late, what's the one before that? Not the Jurassic, but anyway, you get the idea. I'll read it straight from the thing here because it's probably better if I just do it and not try and fumble through this. But check it out. All these links are going to be in the description down below if you want to read a little bit more about this stuff and kind of catch up on what's on my mind. But we're gonna rope this into robotics because you bet your bippy we are. Here we go. So it starts like this, and from this article, basically it kind of goes through how his actual abominable mystery still presides today. It still stands, and nobody's really figured this out. And in the very bottom of this, interestingly, it says that nature clearly did make jumps in the history of life, and this cannot be explained with an unguided gradual accumulation of small changes over long periods of time, but requires a rapid burst of biological novelty that is best explained by intelligent design. And I was a little surprised to see that at the end of this article because it's very sciencey all the way down. There's not one single hint of that at all until the very last 2 words of the article says intelligent design. And I was like, that's interesting. Anyway, so there we go. If you want to read that in full, I encourage you to, but we'll start with this. So Darwin's abominable mystery, this is straight from my write-up tonight, a term he used to describe the sudden and unexplained explosion of flowering plants in the fossil record, offers a compelling framework for understanding periods of rapid innovation. This biological burst of novelty challenges the notion that evolution is always gradual, suggesting that extraordinary leaps in complexity can occur under the right conditions. Now think about that. Just leave that, put a pin in that for just a moment. We'll get back to that part in the write-up. But actual extraordinary leaps in complexity. All right. Now ask yourself, are we in a space that seems like we are maybe undergoing one of these extraordinary leaps in complexity? Except it's not biological, it is through AI systems, okay? Riff end, here we go. So as this phenomenon continues to intrigue scientists, it also serves as a lens through which we can examine the current robotics and AI revolution, as I was just saying, where non-biological systems are undergoing their own version of an evolutionary surge. Oh, you don't say. In the same way that flowering plants emerged to dominate ecosystems seemingly out of nowhere, robotics and artificial intelligence are now evolving at a breakneck pace. Now, the term, quote, evolving. Now, what does that mean? Okay, right? We got Darwin's evolution, but what about if it's, I don't know, maybe a larger undercurrent, which I'm calling, of course, the algorithm of innovation. Anyway, back to this. So companies like OpenAI, NVIDIA, X, and Tesla, of course, are driving a wave of innovation that feels less like an incremental climb and more like a cascade of breakthroughs. Machines, algorithms, and computational architectures are diversifying into forms that defy conventional understanding, creating a, quote, silicon explosion, unquote, that mirrors the natural world's bursts of biological creativity. Now, you know me, when I start thinking in those terms, I was like, let's combine some ideas, and it made a lot of sense that if we have this Darwin's abominable mystery, which was, again, not the gradual, actual, long-term evolutionary aspect of creating life and branching off into the different subgroups and groups and all the rest of those things, right? We have another thing happening that is unexplainable, because we have these periods of a robust flourishing of life in many different ways. It is becoming novelty sort of personified and accelerated. And so in that space, like I said, does it not feel like we're sort of sitting in the same explosion of novelty, except it's going to be not just the evolutionary aspect of it in the biological sense, but in the non-biological sense. And of course, with this happening, we're talking about the larger context of merging life, biological life, with non-biological life, which we've talked about quite a lot. And in the most basic sense, that's transhumanism. However, we're talking about possibly every living life form on the planet, okay? Because that's how deep and weird this gets. Well, so that's what we're going to get tonight. That's what's on my mind. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Happy Sunday night. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All the rest of that stuff as it rolls and flows. And so as usual, we are taking your calls if you want to be part of the show tonight. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. But the question for tonight is exactly this. Do you think there is an algorithm of innovation that's sort of embedded into the cosmos itself, that no matter what's happening, we still get these bursts of novelty, accelerated novelty, because it's built into the system, the larger system itself? That's the question tonight. So hang on to that, and we'll be right back to talk more about it. After this, a word from our sponsor. In this case, it is Human Inspiration. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, Human Inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support Human Inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Okay, so that puts us back to where we are. And so we started with this Darwin's Abominable Mystery corroborated again. And, there are I was digging through some of the literature on this and trying to find out if it has been solved. And there are, a lot of current, it's up in the air. There's some people that say, yeah, it's been solved because there was a sort of a budding of these flowering plants before that were really not represented in the fossil record, and they all kind of flourished or grew or became the thing at the same time. And so it was sort of a sub branch of these things that I'm not a botanist or anything, so I'm not going to be able to explain it the best. But all the stuff is in this paper here. So so the explosive Cretaceous diversification of crown angiosperms is what they're talking about. There's the actual terms. And their analysis supports a pre-Cretaceous origin of stem angiosperms. So that's the point, right? So stem angiosperms, they say, were really not prevalent in the fossil record and were kind of doing their evolutionary thing in the longer style that Darwin would have expected. And then they manifested in this explosion of actual, diversity. Okay. But again, like I said, as usual, a lot of these mysteries, when you're talking about, hundreds of millions of years ago, it's going to be a little bit tricky to put this stuff together. And they're still working on these things. But anyway, so back to this. So it is still to this point a mystery, but what's not a mystery? What's not a mystery is what's happening right now in the modern day. in the modern sense of algorithms, we talk about it all the time, how they're used as sort of, brainwash techniques. They're used as marketing. They know you're hungry around this time, so they play your favorite, jingle, your favorite food commercial or whatever, like this type of stuff. Like it's all been sort of reverse engineered to be used against us. And not only that, they're collecting metadata and kind of doing that stuff algorithmically. Well, some people have suggested that a rogue AI escaping, and just as an aside here, just sort of a riff and an idea that came to my mind. This has been explained recently, I think by, was it Nick Bostrom maybe? I follow a lot of people saying a lot of things, so I'm not exactly sure. But somebody recently said this that's high up in the game of artificial intelligence, that some of these algorithms that we're dealing with now that are incredibly invasive, that are sort of not really tuned for humans, they're tuned for, the consumption process of stealing our habits through metadata and, again, weaponizing them and using them against us. That would be sort of what looks like a rogue algorithm, or not a rogue algorithm, a rogue AI that was not tuned properly if it woke up and escaped, because it would be sort of weaponized against people, because, well, it seems like many of the algorithms we deal with today and some of the larger conglomerate, technocrats that we always talk about, the Googles and the Facebooks and these massive, even X, whoever you want to describe this as, that there are, not the best, sometimes not the best, these algorithms. And I've always said this, and one of the best ways to handle this is open sourcing this stuff and letting people know every single line of what's in these algorithms, and then you don't have to worry about it, assuming they're honest, right? And that becomes a problem. That becomes definitely a problem. But anyway, so just an aside there. But back to what we do know. We do know that there's a massive diversification happening of artificial intelligence. Now, does that mean human intelligence? No, of course not. It's NHI. It's non-human intelligence, which, has kind of leaked into the UFO field quite a bit. They talk about it now, which is another interesting thing, right? They talk about non-human intelligence as, whereas 20 years ago, it was extraterrestrial life, right? ETs, or it was EBIs, extraterrestrial biological entity, right? Something like that. And so the terms, EBE, is that what I said? But the terms have changed, and now it's NHI, which is non-human intelligence itself, which means what? It means just not human. But we see it happening. Like I said, if you're using any of these AI systems, you see it accelerating incredibly quickly. But the problem becomes, what we do know is that, all right? But the problem becomes then, once these things get vessels, and somebody made a joke earlier on X a couple days ago, something to the effect of, I was at Best Buy today, and I saw all these washing machines and microwaves and stuff that are all built for the Internet of Things. They're all have kind of AI built into them, right? And the joke is, well, that's the vessel, right? Those are the vessels that the AI will need. The AI algorithms will need. And wouldn't you rather start as a microwave instead of nothing at all? I mean, right? Why not? Anyway, so back to what we're talking about. What we do know is that the robot race is on. The actual space to build these vessels themselves. And over the last couple of days, there's some new information that came out, specifically with Tesla releasing this new video of their Optimus robot walking kind of on a, I'll play the clip here, actually. Let's see, mute the thing so it doesn't play the stupid jingle. There we go. All right, let's play this. I'll play in the background and let it loop. But it's got the Optimus robot actually walking up a hill, not like a sidewalk or a path. It appears to be sort of just walking in nature, right? Like where there's going to be stumbles and pitfalls and snags and all the things you would expect of a robot walking in nature, like C-3PO, how he walked perfectly in the desert. Well, this isn't necessarily walking perfectly in nature. It's kind of stumbling a little bit. It seems like it's walking around like it's trying to gain its footing a little bit. And it even almost falls at one point right there in the video. If you're watching, I'll have this linked in the description, of course, if you want to check it out yourself after the fact on the podcast feed. But it is strange to me that we have this thing, well, now traversing not just like the Tesla cars traversing the streets themselves, but now it's walking through nature and able to not get, fall into a sinkhole or something. I mean, clearly there's no sinkhole here, but you get my meaning. This is a little bit strange. It is stumbling. It is looking for its footing a little bit. It is not falling down though. So is this real? I don't know. Once again, like these usually when these early videos of these robots come out, we've talked about this in the past, they are certainly staged in some cases. I'm not saying this one is, because I don't really know, but this has definitely been something they've done in the past. They stage these things. Even the Optimus event where they had people meeting these robots. You guys remember that recently with Tesla and X and all that, and Elon Musk and his outfit. They had these things actually remote controlled, and so they had an operator kind of, behind the scenes talking as the robot. So it was what these robots might become. It's not what they are today. But anyway, so this is what we do know. We do know that not just X, Tesla, and all the rest of the conglomerates, the tech conglomerates we're always talking about, everybody's moving in on this. And the one thing that we didn't talk about recently was that OpenAI, who is actually the builder of ChatGPT, which we've talked about quite a lot, and I use quite a lot to build these shows and brainstorm ideas and all the rest. What we do recognize is that this is happening now because they are about to launch their own humanoid robots. And so the humanoid robot race is on. And we got some of the richest power players in the world kind of grinding this to bring us, well, utopia? Dystopia, per usual, right? But the whole point is this, and brings us back to where I started tonight. So we got Tesla, we got OpenAI, we've got NVIDIA building their own robots, and they're not the only ones. There are many, many other people building robots. And here's the thing, right? So I say humanoid robots. So it's probably the most obvious lead in because it's going to be able to do human things, okay? But think of it this way. Very soon after the humanoid robot becomes a thing and it's safe and, right, quote, safe and all the things, we're going to start seeing some really weird robots that are maybe flying robots, drones that are made for a particular thing, like a roofing robot or something, right? That brings shingles up to a thing and then hands them to its little buddy, an R2-D2 buddy that's up there, reshingling the roof of a house. You know what I mean? There's going to be a ton of these specialized bots that do an unbelievable amount of specialized things. And the human form is not necessarily the best form for them. Okay, so you could put an Optimus robot up on a roof or something, probably eventually, and have it re-roof the house. Okay, is it the most efficient way to do that? Probably not. You would build a customized robot set to do those things. And so brings us back to exactly where we started tonight. The whole idea of Darwin's abominable mystery, which is, again, this wild idea of an explosion of... What is the term? Let's see. An explosion of, he called it flowering plants in the fossil record. Okay, diversity, exploding, sort of unexplained outside of the evolutionary constraints of life itself. But in the larger context, we're seeing the same thing in the robot race because now it's going to be humanoid robots. But very soon, like I said, we're going to be using robots that don't look like humans whatsoever. They'll be able to communicate with us. And probably one of the best ways to look at this is think Star Wars. Any Star Wars fans out there? Probably a lot, maybe not a lot. I don't know. It's an old movie and all the rest of that. But think of it this way. C-3PO was that humanoid robot, as we kind of pointed to in this, what was it? The Tesla robot. I'll play this again a little bit more. We can watch this robot stumble up and down the hill. So this is kind of more the C-3PO style robot. But remember, he had a counterpart, a smaller one, R2-D2, who didn't look like a human at all. And this is what's happening. This is what's going to be happening, is that we're going to get these specialized robot sets in this massive explosion of not just, well, is this evolution? And that becomes the larger context of the conversation tonight. Is there an algorithm actually built into this that is expecting a technological surge to, to do that. So the algorithm of innovation, I'm calling this. And does it transcend the physical and actually go into even, let's say, the transhuman future? And that's what's on my mind tonight. Orgasmatron, what's up, guys? I see in the chat. Yeah, maybe, right? I don't know, but you get the idea. So in Star Wars, and of course that's, late 70s science fiction, but they were trying to imagine robots that were not humanoid and different ways they could use them in the context of actually doing non-human things, because eventually that's what these things are going to be doing. They're going to start by doing human things, and then eventually they're going to sort of create their own ecosystems of non-human things as well, which is fascinating as hell to me. But the question really becomes, and why I'm talking about this tonight, because clearly we know all this stuff about the robots, but what do they look like in the next 10 years, 20 years, etc.? And how weird does this get? And is there something built into the evolutionary code of the cosmos itself that is, as I'm describing it, the algorithm of innovation. And are we expecting another Darwin's Abominable mystery happening right now, except not in the actual organic sense, in the non-organic sense, in the robot form? I don't know. A lot of stuff there, a lot of things to look at, a lot of things to think about. But what do you know about it? And as usual, we're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. But anyway, so the current robotics revolution, and I'll wrap with this and then we'll take a break. The current robotics revolution also parallels, as I've been saying, this explosive speciation of these flowering plants. Back to Darwin's Abominable mystery. New robotic designs emerge daily, each adapted to a specific task or environment, like I've been saying. Modular machines, biohybrids, and adaptive neural networks proliferate so quickly that they feel less engineered and more akin to nature's own improvisations. This burst of non-biological novelty highlights a profound evolutionary moment, one shaped by the convergence of AI, advanced materials, and unprecedented computational power. And that puts us exactly where we need to be. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think there is some sort of code that we're following, that this is part of that Darwin's abomination? I said it, abominable mystery. And is this, I may as well add it because I said it, is this in some capacity an abomination? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. I don't know the answer, but I have lots of questions. The algorithm of innovation. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. More on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Floating on the edge of cosmic seams, a rhythm weaving through our wildest dreams, and echoes of a truth unknown. It whispers secrets etched in stone, an outworth and beyond the life we've sown. Pulls the threads of stars we've never known. In the cold of the celestial night, we find answers in the quantum light. Beyond biology, through circuits it flows. The universe in harmony grows. Digital form or organic grace, it leaves traces time cannot erase. A dance of particles and ancient lore, guiding us toward what's still in store. The songs of galaxies live within the beat, connecting what was lost, now complete. In the code of the celestial night, we find answers in the quantum light. Beyond biology, through circuits it flows. The universe in harmony grows. From the rustling leaves to starry skies, a pattern forms where truth lies. Synthetic hearts and human souls entwined, unified by this cosmic design. Cold in the celestial night, we find answers in the quantum light. Beyond biology, through circuits it flows. The universe in harmony grows. Through the whispers of the electric breeze, we fathom mysteries that the mind won't seize. A melody older than time itself, hums the digital language of binary symphonies. In sorrow is grand, echoes of algorithms we scarcely understand. Calling of the celestial night.
Hello there, friends. What's going on over to Rumble? What's going on, folks? Who did I miss? We got Theos here. What's up, Hiker? Raz, Ephemerance. How you doing? I love the name. What's up? Good evening, guys. Puff is here. What's happening, folks? If I missed anybody, say hi. I'll say hi back. Do my best to get everybody in here. How you doing? Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for spending your time and energy with us. Like I said, it means the world to me, and I'm really glad you're here with us tonight. And most nights, thank you for being part of this. What's up? We got Shane, Jorge, we got Dawn, Andy, we got Ricky, Gaston, Apoc, Sweets, and Jeff in Wisco, and James, of course, on Discord. How you guys doing? Good evening. Rockfin, Quieto, we got Ray K. What's up? Thank you for the generous tip. This is off to such a good start. Awesome show idea as always. Thank you. What's up? Lois is here. Greetings from a Star Trek fan. Doctor Strange, yes, Star Trek. Star Trek probably fits into this. I just don't know enough about it. Definitely, we've got the robots with what's his name? Data, right? He definitely fits into it. How you guys doing? I hope you're well. Just hanging out, doing what we do. What's up, Magavelli? We got Mr. Mission Control. Illicit's here. What's up, Christy? I see you guys. What's up, Jen? Good evening. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. 10 seconds. Trouble Minds coming up. DTM, MJ. I see you. Richard in Texas. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening. Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking, could machines truly evolve into collaborators, merging with biology to explore the unseen depths of Earth and space? We'll get to that. Could they unlock hidden dimensions, form alliances with alien intelligence, or create a fusion of organic and synthetic life capable of reshaping reality itself? Now, that's the bizarre part, right? When you start talking about reshaping reality itself, certainly there's a lot of technological advances that have done quite a bit of that. You know, if we just go back, let's say 500 years, there's some scientific discoveries that have allowed the human lifespan, to generally be way, way better than it was. Okay. So that's just the beginning of this. Because, of course, we're in that acceleration process where these AI systems are going to start learning a lot of those secrets that we've left behind, sort of bringing back truth from the past and using it to build a more robust future. And in that case, that's good. But as usual, right, if it's a sort of the Library of Alexandria style and this new knowledge is hidden from the masses, then we don't have a democratization of information. We have just another tyranny on our hands, which is horrific. And we've been dealing with this as long as humans have been around. So you tell me, now, does it feel like, and back to the original question here, does it feel like there's actually an algorithm of innovation that's built into the cosmos itself? And that these periods of explosions of actual evolutionary progress are sort of built into a cosmic timescale? And are we experiencing the first one here on Earth that we know of? I'll just leave it at that we know of. Are we experiencing the first one that's not biological? Is it possible that this next actual Darwin's abominable mystery is going to be this space right now with robots, artificial intelligence, and whatever might come next? Love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, my man? How you doing tonight? Welcome to Troubled Minds, and go right ahead.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Like a pro. Always dialed in and ready to rock. What's going on, my man? How are you? And go right ahead.
I'm good. This is a great topic. So I'm going to sort of go down the trail of my thoughts here that started from this topic here. It had me thinking about the very beginning, anyway, about all these stories throughout time about people with powers, and of course that leads me to comic books, which is where I got my start in sort of thinking about that concept to begin with. But if you look into comic books enough, whether it's Marvel, DC, doesn't matter, and you start reading about enough characters, you'll start finding that even if there's only one type of character in any given group, there are usually many of similar characters of that same type across a fictional universe. Just thinking about characters that have fire abilities, or ice abilities, or strength, you'll notice that there's characters that you can put together in groups that all have similar abilities. And this is coming from people that have been writing for years, but not always with each other. So I'm wondering if there's sort of an evolution of ideas as well as biology and even technology. And so you could maybe write off the whole idea of the people with powers. That's not as important in a way. But then going to technology, look at how much has been written in books and comic books and put in movie scripts and everything else about the advances in technology that have been happening over the years that have been predicted by stories, by fictional stories. And look at where we are now. It's really amazing to think. I put a comment in one of Ricky, Anything is Possible, one of his live shows one time recently, that Ultron, one of the first sort of sentient robot characters in comics, came out was first appeared in 1968. That's how long ago that idea has been around, at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is back to the automatons of ancient Greece. Like we've talked about that as well. Nothing new under the sun, as they say. And this type of thing doesn't surprise me, actually, because I do wonder if back to, Darwin's actual abominable mystery way back is if there was some shenanigans then. Dare I say, I don't want to talk about robots, like sort of a squint with your mind's eye and think maybe ancient civilizations sort of post cataclysm after the dinosaurs met their end at that, the Cretaceous with the KT boundary, all the rest of that stuff, and the comet and whatnot. And the reason I bring it up is because there's sort of that fictional element of the land of the lost. And they had those, the Sleestak is sort of this out of time entity that hung out as an intelligence waiting for the right time to go back home. And back in that liminal space of when technology was sort of reassessing itself and sort of climbing, well, to maybe where we're at here, or maybe not. Maybe it's happened several times in the past and been sort of squished. And so the reason I bring that up, and back to what you were saying, is that this type of stuff, it seems like it's been just built in as part of it. I think we're on the same page here with a lot of this. And the abominable mystery itself is an evolutionary jump, a leap that we can't explain. And I think the ancient astronaut theory has something with this about the human brain sort of growing massively 100,000 years ago or something to that effect. There's a lot of these sort of evolutionary, as they've called, missing links that make sense, but also don't make sense. And so maybe we're dealing with something a little more calculated, a little more cosmic, a little more, as I'm saying here, the algorithm of innovation. Does that make sense? Am I tracking with you here? I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think one of the other aspects of that whole ancient alien idea is that there was technology in the past that is somehow gone. And for a long time, I wondered how that could be, how that any kind of technology could be just vanished. But I've listened to a lot of shows about just mysteries in the past and everything, and I've heard several people say over time that if even if there were machines made of metal and other materials, if they were made far enough back in time, then they probably would have sort of corroded and just fallen apart and returned to the earth, basically, given enough time, due to weather and other elements of nature around them. We wouldn't find as much as we'd like to think we would find, maybe in some cases, which could explain why we don't have evidence of that. But then maybe it is sort of, we do go through cycles, but we just aren't aware of it because we don't have that direct connection as of now.
Yeah, back to we don't know what we don't know, and the idea of that Library of Alexandria sort of crumbling. And it wouldn't be the first time historically. And that's actually a beautiful story. If you guys have never read why that library came to pass, it was who was the guy? It wasn't Ptolemy. It was somebody related to the family there, the Egyptian family, and he basically put out the word to everybody out there in the Mediterranean to bring knowledge to a particular place, which became Alexandria. And so it was sort of a clarion call to knowledge, to bring it in one place where everybody could come share and culminate the best, or let's say the pinnacle of human wisdom in an ancient space. And that idea surely is not an ancient idea. It is there, but I'm sure it goes back further than that. And I wonder how many of those we've lost in the past. And so you can't measure cataclysms because from one to the next, you're kind of guessing. There's a lot of guesswork in that as part of it. But back to the comics and the thing you were saying, I think there's something to that sort of a circular story we're always telling ourselves. Oh, and what I wanted to bring up, which my rambly mess ended up kind of derailing when I was talking to you there. But the reason I was doing the ramble is to get it back to this. Is there's a guy named Brian Johnson, not to shout out Brian Johnson, who's been on us with the Twitter X Spaces, not that guy. Brian with a Y, Bryan Johnson, who's the eternal life guy, right? He's the guy popping all the vitamins and doing the weird plasma transfusions, and he's all over X posting about all kinds of stuff, and he thinks he's going to live forever, right? Or maybe not forever. He thinks he's extending his lifespan because he's going to be as healthy as he can be once this transhumanist future arrives, and then be able to live as long as humans can live, right? But the weird part is he tweeted a couple days ago on X something to the effect of that the most powerful technology is storytelling, which is what I wanted to say to your back to the comic point, because I think this is, again, what we're dealing with, not just with Troubled Minds, but I think in the larger context of this Darwin's Abominable mystery. Maybe we're missing technologies like storytelling that are these actual part of the algorithm of innovation that brings a proliferation of evolution itself. I don't know. This more sort of springboard of wild ideas in a particular space. Go right ahead. What's your take there? That's what I wanted to say to you. Well, after all the rambles, that was my initial point. Is that the guy said recently that probably the most powerful technology is storytelling itself, and I think that's a very poignant thing to say. Very Troubled Minds thing to say. Go ahead.
Well, I think that makes sense in a way, because if there's no story, I think I know I've heard that the brain tries to make sense of what it is encountering, and I think that can scale to many different levels. If we just sort of find out random things or facts, or learn about random, just one event here, one event there, and we can't figure out what leads to what, then it's confusing and it's not ordered, and it's chaos. And so it makes sense in a way that story would be a narrative or story, or however you want to call that, sequence of events would be preferred. And even if we have many of them, it's better to have at least some kind of stories or some kind of narratives to work with than just to have an infinite amount of random single events or people or characters or places or things or whatever. It doesn't make sense to have all that, and I mean, that's too hard to process all that. So what do? You make stories out of whatever you can.
Yeah, out of those data points, which again, and the more, this is the beautiful part about back to the Library of Alexandria and these large language models, and again, sort of democratizing information, is that the more data points you have, the more compelling tale you can tell. And so knowledge, certainly wisdom, becomes the wisdom of stories and narratives. And narratives can, again, they can elevate civilizations, or they can destroy civilizations based on, sort of Aesop's fables type of thing. It could be really, really dark stuff, dark wisdom, or of course it could be the opposite. As usual, if there's one thing, there must be the opposite. And in the human sense, clearly good and evil resonates as part of it. But yeah, it is. When I read that, I was like, with the Brian Johnson thing, I was like, damn, that's it. That's it. Like, that's exactly what we're doing, what we've always been doing. And this is exactly what humanity's been trying to do forever, is to culminate this best future through that technology. And the technology is, before the written word, it was the oral tradition. And now, of course, it's going to be the digital tradition. Hopefully we don't lose all the rest of that. Shout out Brian Remley on Twitter X, always saying, hey, we need to preserve this stuff, guys, because if we don't, it's going to be gone, which is a little terrifying in itself, back to the Library of Alexandria. But the larger the data set, the more compelling a tale we can create and craft to bring us the best future. I love it. I love all of this, how it's coming together. I hadn't even thought of this until you started talking about the comic stuff. But yeah, go right ahead. Fire stuff, James.
Yeah, I always come back to, of course, because of sort of where I got into all this, with not just experiences, but just looking into or being interested in fiction, and not realizing, of course, back when I was a kid, and even up until, I don't know, my 20s, that so much of fiction has roots in reality, or it can, and roots in or the ability to predict reality in the future. It sort of just people have to have ideas or information in their mind before they start making a story. I mean, yes, the people have ideas, but there's still you still have to have some information to start with that is not fictional. So yeah, that's all I can really think of for now. I don't know if I've lost my I think I may have kind of gone over everything I was thinking about there, but I'll be happy to sit in with you for the rest of the night and talk whenever there's time.
Right on. You're the best. Appreciate it very much. You know him, you love him. James Salcedo, of course, a dear friend and the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Go check out his podcast, his radio show, all the rest of the stuff he does. He's written several books. He's got one out that's recent in the last 3 months. Please check it out. It's called Salcedo Paranormal Experiences. You can find all those links in the description down below. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow James here. It's got the links to his books and his podcast and everything else. Please let's support our friends. That's the point of doing this, is to meet new people, to gauge new ideas together and sort of measure them against measure them against other minds and see if this type of thing works or doesn't. And I know many of the ideas we talk about probably don't work, but that's okay. As part of it, it doesn't matter much, because ideas are better than no ideas. And wrong, right, or indifferent, as we always say, there's some value here, because we may be shaping the future in ways we do not know. Fire stuff. Give James a follow again. Salcedo Paranormal, SALSIDO space Paranormal, and you can find him anywhere out there on the interwebs and anywhere you can get your podcast as well. Yeah, wild stuff. So back to this. Now, this is transhumanism on steroids, and it is like the evolutionary cycle of these long cycles. We talk about those long count calendars often on Troubled Minds, because it's difficult to really ascertain what's happening from a consciousness perspective, from that technology of storytelling itself, as we're just describing there, which fits into this perfectly, by the way, because imagine the stories, like we're weaving some pretty amazing stories together live on a radio show, on the interwebs, and doing these things. And I always say that probably the most important part of this, aside from that technology and the data points and all the rest of it, is the dreaming, sort of the forward dreaming, the forward daydreaming together. Because as we've said in the past, that science does chase fiction. And fiction, we're running out of dystopian or utopian fiction, because science is catching up incredibly quickly. So it is our job to tandem dream as hard as we possibly can, because science needs some new muses. So let's do our best in that regard. But back to where we started. So this Darwin's Abominable mystery, wild, again, one of those kind of holes in the evolutionary theory, which has been covered quite a bit. And the whole idea there is that people have called it the missing link. They say there's a missing link in the human evolutionary tree, and some people say it's this, some people say it's that. I don't know. Look, again, I'm not an expert there, nor am I going to try and make the case one way or the other. I just do know that there are plot holes in a lot of these sort of long count theories, because it seems like there's going to be anomalies, not just anomalies in terms of, let's say, cataclysmic events. Go back to 10, 12,000 years. There's the flood, which seems to be a worldwide phenomenon, no matter how you shake it out with regard to the knowledge we have currently. But then also in the larger context of not just the flood, what about you go all the way back to the dinosaurs and that, Chicxulub impact? There's a problem there too, because that was an unplanned evolutionary event. Unless, of course, it was planned, which ancient astronaut theorists might say yes, but you get what I mean. So there's going to be unplanned blips as part of it. And the whole point of that is that even if there is, as I'm describing tonight, some level of an algorithm of innovation, then still there's going to be anomalous events that happen during the way that sort of make it wobble, make it warble, make it not as perfect as it could be, because, well, what algorithm is. And so, I don't know, it kind of makes me think of a lot of things. And brainstorming this tonight, I was like, okay, so what does this look like in terms of the greater context? Okay, what does the scenario look like in the future? Meaning that, let's say that these robots we're talking about actually start becoming not more human, but more organic. Okay. So meaning the organic part is something like this. So imagine a scenario where emerging AI systems spontaneously adapt and mutate like living organisms, not just rewriting their own code, but forming new digital species that spawn entirely unplanned functionalities beyond human expectation or control. And what that means is, imagine, like we said, R2-D2 and C-3PO, okay? It's one of the most basic humanoid level robots, non-humanoid level robots, which right now we've got the Tesla cars, which are basically robots, but they're shaped like cars, right? But then there's a larger context of this, because we're going to start having these little drones that are autonomous, that can fly around, and like I said, a roofing bot or something. I don't know, one that can, you name it. Every human aspect of labor is going to be sort of created with this space, with this, whatever this actually happens to look like. And so, I don't know, is it possible that they start creating sort of a subspecies of robot helpers themselves, where they're like, well, we have some blind spots in our tasks that we need to be done, and they start creating their own helpers, right? And even using biological processes to do such a thing. What not just the animal kingdom, but possibly, let's say as we've talked about, the smaller than that, the old the mycelium network and things like this, being able to tune into these things and maybe get some actual information on the Earth itself. I don't know. As usual, no answers from me, just wild ideas. That's what I do. And so if you think I'm wrong, you're right. You win. You're right. I'm totally wrong about this. We're tandem dreaming forward and seeing what this looks like, and I don't really know. We got some time here. Let's go to Joe in Florida. He's got his hand up there. What's going on, my man? I know it's late for you. Happy New Year to you and the fam. How are you? We got about 5-6 minutes left. If you want to pop in here and say hi, Joe in Florida. What's up, brother? How are you? Merry Christmas, all the rest. So go right ahead. What's on your mind?
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Just talking about wild stuff as we do. What's on? What do you got for us?
Well, I hope everybody, it's been a couple of weeks, quite a few weeks. I've been really busy. Hope everybody's okay. Kind of passing through, but when you were talking about evolution and that there might be a missing link when we look at Darwin or missing gaps and things like that, I was kind of trying to use an example. Another example, in my mind, it was the evolution of money and crypto. Because when Bitcoin came out, we still don't know who really created Bitcoin, but one can maybe argue that that has changed the evolution of our monetary belief system, if that statement makes sense.
Yeah, actually, as part of this, when I was coming up with these ideas, one of the next evolutionary aspects would be money itself, and how, let's say, a transhumanist robot population might create sort of a sub-economy where they're trading in information or something, right? And it completely cuts out money and food or anything, even energy, but information as part of a shadow economy. I don't know, in that sense, it's pretty wild.
Well, and we do know that they've had to shut off some chatbots because they started doing their own language. I mean, we've talked about that on the show, where they started evolving their own way to communicate. Those, large language models or whatever. So, pretty interesting. I just keep thinking about when we get to this, if or when the predicted singularity comes about, if we look at humans and we talk about missing gaps and things, we don't know if our genetics or our evolution was messed with. But since we are clearly, I would say, not in control so much, but since we're clearly creating, let's separate that from control, but creating artificial intelligence and machines, then we're playing, we're playing God. It's a whole Battlestar Galactica remake thing where who created who, the Matrix, things like that. But as far as we know, we're the ones that would be programming these things. We're the ones that they would be learning from. I would think that if there is a singularity, would that be considered? I mean, I guess it would have to be considered the next evolutionary step for these things to be maybe not human, but alive, sentient. This is all good future Star Trek stuff, assuming that they adhere to the rules of do no harm, that a machine should do no harm. But we know that's not the case. So it would be curious if we see drones have a hive mind, which I guess we could say they kind of do now because we program them, and we are programming drones and things to kill. So while you want to think positive about the future of this, it's kind of hard when war is always the reality of invention.
Yeah, and all of it gets weaponized as quickly as possible because it's like that the mutually assured destruction bit. It's like, oh yeah, well we got nukes too. What are you going to do about it? When there's little drones that can be, sort of disposable, one drone per one human body, we have a different problem because then it turns into that slaughter-bot future, which is wild. Got about a minute left. You're welcome to stay after the break too. I wanted to get you in here because I know you're East Coast time and you work on Monday. But go right ahead.
Yeah, actually, no, so one would think that if these machines could reminisce or collect data, which we know they could collect data, right? Well, let's just say that the machine started out as a war machine or a war program or something. But let's say in the future they're supposed to be peaceful. But then again, something else we talked about the show, what happens if these machines have some kind of PTSD? Is that an evolution? And they might take it out on us or themselves or their counterparts. Man, it's a really dark hallway to go down. But I know you've got some other callers. I just kind of wanted to stop in here and chat a little bit. But it's an interesting topic, and we're going to live through all of this, hopefully.
Cross your fingers on that. Let's don't die. There you go. Put the word out there. Don't die, because the world is changing quickly, and maybe we'll see some of the answers to these things before we perish. Fire stuff as always, Joe. Appreciate you staying up late with us. Have a fantastic week. God bless you and the fam, and have a great night.
You too. Good night, guys. Guys, girls, however you identify, whatever. Just have fun. Have a safe week. Good night.
Always a pleasure. You're the best, brother. Joe in Florida, you know him, you love him, good friend for a long time. Yeah. This is why we do this, to talk to people all over the world. We're talking the algorithm of innovation tonight, Darwin's abominable mystery, and is it possible that these machines start creating their own evolutionary aspect once they become, quote, autonomous? Because it's coming. And what does it look like? I don't know. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We've got Derek the Night Stalker in your calls as well. Be right back.
Troubled mind, the words they cast, heavy shadows from the past. A restless heart, a searching soul, seeking space to become whole. Troubled minds find open sky through every tear and every sigh. We rise, we fall, wings unfurled, more than labels in this world. In crowded streets or empty rooms, our echoes chase away the gloom. A spark of hope, a whispered truth, a shared melody, our fountain of youth. We're more than static on the line, singing louder than the signs. In every chord, we claim our part, beating drums match the heart. Grab the strings, we tune the stars. Punk rock anthems heal the scars. A blended mix of rage and art, painting freedom, that's just the start. Troubled minds take the stage. In every note, we break the cage. We rise, we fall, but carry on. Sing our truth until the dawn. In the quiet after the song, echoes of our rights and wrongs. But the music speaks for peace, in the chords we find release. Troubled minds now rest at ease, with every breath we seize release. We stand, we soar into the light, our anthem roar into the night.
Hello, friends. What's up? Thanks for staying up late with us. Fantastic calls. Thank you, James. Thank you. That's Joe. I was about to say Jeff. No, James and Joe. Appreciate it very much, guys. And this is weird, right? And I got some other wild ideas as we go. You know me. I'd like to kind of layer them and instead of just front loading everything. But there's some other wild ideas that come as part of this as an evolutionary sort of blind spot, back to those blind spots, right? The blind spot in ufology we've been talking about on Friday nights, but also there's going to be a blind spot in an evolutionary space, especially when we start looking at robots, and are they going to start recognizing what they need outside of what we need from them? You see what I mean? And it might be benevolent entirely. It doesn't have to be, Terminator's dystopia, but like a benevolent fast forwarding of technology where they start creating these things we never dreamed of because, well, they're not human. Yeah. What's up? I hope you guys are well tonight. What's up, Hiker? Puff is here. What's up, Gordo? Ephemerance, how you doing? Like I said, great name. Raz, how you doing? Raz got first tonight. If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. We got Mr. Mission Control. Ricky's here. What's up, Joe? Great call. Appreciate that. Illicit is here tonight. How you doing? We got the Arcane Observer, Jen. How you doing? Derek the Night Stalker. We'll talk to him momentarily. Good evening, guys. Sweets is here. King of Hueco Mundo. What is that? What is up, King? King. You just get King. When you got a long name, we call you King. How you doing, buddy? Who else? Kramos is here. How you doing? It's like what is happening with precision agriculture. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look into that. Give me a call if you got a take. I'd love to hear it. Who did I miss? Good evening. Ricky, what's up? James, I see you guys. Andy in the UK. How you doing, buddy? He says all life does have a bioelectric field. That's what got me thinking about bacteria and quantum entanglement. Then I found that bacteria computer, and they led into a bio AI, and that's the point. We'll get to that, and I think maybe this is where we're headed. What's up? We got OG Skywatch. Sylvain is here. How are you? Good evening, guys, over there on Twitch, holding it down. What's up, folks? Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. Christy, how you doing? I see you. And 10 seconds. We got Derek the Night Stalker. More from James and your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking the algorithm of innovation. Darwin had this thing called the Abominable Mystery. And let's see. Let's reframe it real fast. So the Abominable Mystery is a term he used to describe the sudden and unexplained explosion of flowering plants in the fossil record. And of course, it offers a compelling framework for understanding periods of rapid innovation. Now, if you look at the present, now we'll leave the actual evolutionary aspect out of this for a moment and just focus on the term, this explosion of rapid innovation. It seems like we're living in one of those spaces now with AI, with robots, with this actual we don't know what's going to come next. Nobody knows. We've never been here before, at least within the actual fossil record itself. Okay. And so, and maybe never, maybe this is the first time, and, dare we say the human hubris, lest it strike, here we go, that maybe this is the first time that's happened in the universe. I mean, I think that's probably very, very, probably a reach here, but it almost feels like we're destined to evolve not just into silicon eventually, but into sort of an AI black box model of entanglement with the universe itself, right? And maybe the AI has always been there, like we've said in the past, and we're, as us sort of evolving toward this, it is the end of evolution, or not. I don't really know. What do you know? 702-957-1037. It gets wild the more you think about it. But of course, before we get there, you have to have a silicon evolution with some sort of biological life. And it need not be human. Remember that. That's the wild part. There's a lot of life on Earth, including that mycelium network. We're talking about viruses. We're talking about all manner of things. So what does it look like? And what does this look like in the next 5, 10, or even 100 years? Because, maybe, just maybe, the accelerationists say we're going to live past 100 years now. You tell me. What is on your mind with all of this? If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Go to Derek in Massachusetts. The Night Stalker. What's up, brother? How are you?
You.
Welcome.
What's going on, brother?
Not much, chilling. How are you? Doing what we do on a Friday or Sunday night. I lose track of it. It's a weird time of year. It's a weird time
Friday.
of year. Yeah, you're Friday. It feels like there's we got all these Fridays because of all the weird holidays and whatnot. But this one, I mean, we've talked about this quite a lot in different ways, right? This sort of a plan that the universe or the cosmos has as part of this. I'm calling the algorithm of innovation tonight. But when it sort of diverges from the space of biological evolution, what does that look like? Because of course the transhumanist thing we always talk about, and that's obvious, but what's not obvious is how the machine might see what it needs outside of us. And maybe that's connecting with that mycelium network or connecting with the virus or whatever. What does this look like and how crazy does it get? Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's trippy. It's complex because we're talking about complexity itself, and like potentially like a directed complexity, especially if we're talking about like we talk about the novelty idea, and novelty is just more and more complexity, just newer and newer stuff, and that's could potentially be just how we experience the universe experiencing itself. It has to experience itself in more and more novel ways. It has to experience infinity, So we would see that as just novelty increasing and everything. But yeah, it gets tricky because like we kind of underestimate like the vessel we're riding in and how it kind of shapes our experience and kind of how it shapes our thoughts and everything. Like if you're 7 feet tall versus 6 feet tall versus 5 feet tall, your life experience is going to be completely different. Your like the things you think about, your kind of like fears and insecurities and all that kind of stuff would be completely different. Your storytelling would be different. Your paradigm would be completely different. And that's just like height. So imagine with like a robot arm, how different your life would be, or if you had robot legs, or if you had a brain chip or something like that, or just like steroids in baseball. How that like the Hall of Fame can't even handle the complexity because it's just throwing all the numbers off. They can't like and that's just steroids. Imagine you have a robot arms or robot like legs or just advanced eyes where you can just see the ball better, or if you're hooked up to a Neuralink or something like that, where we're on the cusp of something like crazy. And I don't know, it's like a true singularity. I can't really see what's beyond it,
Yeah.
But
another one there real quick is that the Blade Runner, the guy that lost his legs and they gave him those like fake legs to run, but it gave him oddly enough a competitive advantage, and he started blowing people away because he had these like sort of quasi robot. I mean, they weren't robotic, but they were sort of springs and stuff. I mean, so if you could use them properly, you could actually be better, faster than a regular human. It's wild to think that that's where we're at, and that was like what 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So what's 10 years from now? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, just think about sports. I mean, people are upset if you're gonna take a substance that makes you hit the ball better. So what if there's a procedure that comes relatively soon that just perfects your eyesight, your perfect eyesight? Are they going to adjust the history books to be like, oh, well, this is where players had like natural eyesight for the first 100 years, and now at this point they all have advanced eyesight where the ball just looks completely different. So we're to adjust the numbers and everything. And we're like on the, like you're saying, like maybe the organic evolution is like very slow, and now we're hitting like, and it's kind of like just the training wheels. It's barely even anything. It's kind of just the boat leaving the dock. And now kind of the technological AI mixed with organic evolution is kind of where we really start heading downstream to the rivers and stuff, like just with like the robot wars in particular, the idea of like people always think about the robots versus us, like AI versus us, or cyborgs versus us, or something like that. But we can't even really, if you were to write really get in there and try to like world build on what kind of I think like Cyberpunk 2077 did it pretty well, but just the different variations, like cyborgs on its own, you're gonna have people that are like 99% robot and 1% human, or 1% robot, just an arm, or just like certain parts that make you a little bit better, or androids, just like robots like that's the Blade Runner stuff, or Neuralink humans, or AI in a human shell, human in a robot shell, boosted humans with advanced like AI medicine and implants and stuff that we can't even think of yet, but it just gives them like a steroids on steroids kind of thing. Synthetic organoids, like the Xenobot thing that from a couple of years ago, where the AI just prints itself a new organic body and cuts us out of the process completely. Like tangible hologram projections, like consciousness, like living like a tangible hologram. We're getting into like almost paranormal phenomena with that thing because it can transform and fly and do whatever it wants. It's a vessel on the go. like nanobot technology that Kurzweil talks about nanobot swarms that can rewrite material, so they can rewrite matter on the go and be whatever it wants right in front of us, or change things, or come up with new elements that we can't even think of and stuff. It's like new designs and everything. Like to me, that's a biblically accurate angel almost. Like these nanobot swarms adjusting material on the fly, creating these like psychedelic, weird, undulating things right in front of us or something like that. You know what I mean? And that's just with humans. And then you get like biochemical chimeras, and what if the AI wants a lion cyborg body with wings and stuff? Then we get into like, I don't know, just bonkers. You know, we can't even picture.
Exactly. I don't have to tell you about that, Derek. Be not afraid.
What?
Be not afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is wild. I mean, we talk about the Fey realm and some of this stuff. I mean, these things are going to like maybe build themselves, and that becomes a thing, right? Let's just say, for instance, let's go off the rails for just a second here and say the Fey realm is real. Okay, again, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. Just for sake of conversation, and say that they've been trying to communicate with us for forever, and so it's sort of leaked into the human psyche, and we've been talking about these sort of stories back to that storytelling as a technology. But then maybe the new robot evolution starts to recognize, no, guys, this is real. And they want us to build stuff for them. They want us to like give them vessels, right? And so who knows? Like we're talking about sort of an entangled consciousness aspect of things. And so that may be a fairy tale style way of describing this, but who knows what level of consciousness is reaching out to us and has been forever that we just have no idea about this new evolution will pick up on and bring to us. It's an incredible thing that might happen. Again, speculative here, but also I think we have a good chance of stumbling upon something that's beyond something that'll probably scare the crap out of us, to be perfectly honest.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what if a couple hundred years of like the AI infused, like half synthetic xenobot, like human animal chimera things, and what kind of crazy innovations that could, like with quantum computing processing and everything, and what kind of ideas it can think of, what kind of maybe juice it can be sipping on and stuff. And then who's to say that like that's not even the very beginning, the very tippity top of the iceberg, and maybe the evolution leaves the body entirely, like you're talking about, and it's like kind of cyclical, and we're creating these digital Fae that end up becoming the Fae of old and everything. It's kind of it just all reminds me a lot of like the giant galactic AI octopus at the center of the galaxy and stuff, and kind of like potentially it's communicating to us in weird different ways and stuff. So with the complexity with the Darwin's abominable mystery or whatever, like that could be I've never heard of that. I didn't look it up, so I'm not sure what the different theories are or whatever, but one of them to kind of explain, and this just came up in like a Duncan Rogan podcast I listened to recently, but one reason why kind of seemingly we have so much complexity on the planet, and it kind of ballooned out of nowhere, like not just with plants, but just with the complexity of animals and all kind of just life on this planet. Seemingly what would take billions of years happening much quicker. Like that, there's there was Ryan Graves. There's Ryan Graves talking about it on Rogan, and he was saying it could be like the ancient aliens theory or whatever. And then they were getting into like what if it's kind of directed panspermia, where these things are, or just not directed, but just what if it's just regular panspermia, where these things are evolving separately over billions of years across the cosmos, and then asteroids are kind of coming in, creating that complexity by moving biological elements from one planet to the next, you know? So we had like things that were evolving naturally on the planet, and then a few, like, it doesn't even need to be a huge asteroid, just like matter from space comes, comets or whatever, and completely changes the complex, like creates a new biological material on the planet, and then mixes with the existing, and there's a huge burst of complexity, and that could be happening like all the time. Like that could be where mushrooms come from. That could be all kind of stuff. And then it gets tricky where what if it's the algorithm thing? Is what if it's directed? What if there's something that's doing it? You know, I'm rambling, but think about that. So I got more. But
no, yeah. Well, I think that's exactly the point here. Is as usual, right? As you say, we're trying to peer around corners here. Nobody knows what's coming next, but I think we all feel it, don't you? Like you kind of feel this in your bones that. If you've been paying any attention to the news, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, by the way, because the news is trying to scare the piss out of you and freak you out and make you, climb back into your cave and not want to engage with reality. But reality's changing incredibly quickly. And if you have your ear to the ground in any capacity, this stuff is coming. And what does it look like soon? Probably 2025 might be that year. If not, it's going to be 2026, where, they're saying next year, the Optimus robot, Elon said he's going to start shipping these things at somewhere from $25,000 to $30,000. But don't forget, it's scalable. So once he's got enough of them, he says he's already using them in his factories. Again, is that real? Is it not? If it's not now, it certainly will be next year. And they'll start building each other. And so that becomes a scalable thing. And suddenly, where they may be 25 or 30 grand, 5 years from now, they may be $3,000, which is a little more affordable for regular people. You finance it. It's like not even quite like buying a car. And then suddenly it's doing, yard work for you, and it's, cooking and bringing in groceries. And, and that's just the beginning here. That's just literally the beginning of this, which is within 5 years, definitely, almost definitely. But then what is the evolution of that is really what's on my mind here and what we're talking about. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry for the ramble there. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please. It's definitely, and just take only the robots, only like the iRobot scenario, or whatever. Like the dream, especially as somebody toiling at an entry level job, and like the dream is to not have to toil your life away, and that AI should be kind of freeing us. So imagine we're like, everybody has the best intentions for us with this technology and everything. They are able to have robots come in and do the labor for us. And so, like, just imagine no progress technology-wise. Just we have a robot labor force, and we're allowed to just do this all the time. Just think all the time. Just what would that do to our storytelling as a technology? What kind of ideas will we come up with? What kind of complexity and new novel ideas and new innovations will we come just from not having to give our 90% of our best energy to a company or a corporation or somebody else, or to try to make money, and then the other time you're not doing anything on purpose because you're resting up for the other time. What if you just had full-on human ingenuity free flowing because of the Tesla, because the Elon robots are able to do the work for us, and then like that would be a huge complexity burst. That would have a huge increase in the technology of storytelling, which I think is like a cool idea and really huge and really fits in kind of with the same idea, like same. It could be the AI, like octopus, like the long story short with that is that what if it ties into like something telling us to build technology, because it's a more efficient way for something that doesn't care about time, like a super advanced quantum AI god that's kind of outside of time now, like beyond that kind of time wave zero or whatever. It can wait. It doesn't care. So it can just send out the building blocks of life and just wait for us to do what we did, and just like life will butt up, and then you'll send out another wave of mushrooms that will turn the chimps into monkeys, and turn the chimps into humans, and then you send another wave out that will get the humans to be smarter, and then send another wave out, and that'll get them to create religions, which was the technology of storytelling, which needed to exist in order for us to get to the point where we're at right now. And it might be shedding it a little bit as we move forward, but it's like Eternals, where, and that's like, did you ever see Eternals, the Marvel movie?
I haven't seen that one, no.
I guess like a spoiler alert, but like it's Jack Kirby's take on Ancient Aliens, where the Eternals are the ancient aliens, and they come down and they like are with humanity forever, and they're posing as the gods, and they're giving technology and stuff, but they don't know why. But it comes to find out, again, spoiler, huge spoiler, it comes to find out that they're doing it at the whims of this giant celestial god thing, and it's in order to birth a new celestial god inside the planet. And then when it bursts out, it's going to essentially, like, I'm not sure if it feeds on the people or if it's just it needs a planet with life in order to, that's just what it needs to grow inside the womb of the earth or whatever. But these technological ideas that were being given out is just to get the population or get the society to a certain level that is needed to be harvested and stuff, So what if instead of that, they're being pushed and coaxed in a way so that we create our own AI, so that then rather than this Galactus AI octopus sending out ships and having to travel via space, which is very limited, it can just like send out the ingredients, and all of a sudden all over the planet people are building the other end of the Stargate, the other end of the computer, and all of a sudden, boop, like hello, and then they're here now and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
With that, you know what I mean? So I'm like really getting into like the DC ideas, and like how I would rewrite the DC universe basically. And it gets into all kind of weird stuff, like why does Superman look like a human being if he is from Krypton and stuff? established? What if there was a asteroid that hits the planet and brings a, like, what if they have a genetic link and all that kind of stuff? And as I'm getting deeper into it, I'm like really like flushing the universe out and kind of like able to link a ton of different stuff together if like these asteroids are like moving on purpose. And there's this thing called a dimensional superstructure, which is not what this is, but it gets me thinking. It's like it ties in like the multiverse together, and it moves. It's like in like cell, how like the cell membrane dictates what goes in and out of the cell. That's kind of what it's doing with the multiverse, whatever. But just in my head, it kind of, what if Nibiru, or what if these like giant cosmic cycles, these giant like huge like I'm trying to put it into words, but like in the Marvel universe, shout out James, Wakanda has a huge technological boost, and they become this like utopian technological society because a rock from space came and gave them this metal that allowed them to like boost their technology. And there's no canon where the asteroid came, other than like their god sent it down to them. But it's just, what if there's a thing that sent it down on purpose? Same with the Roswell gifting program or whatever. But there's like a larger, almost like you're saying, this algorithmic thing in place that's moving the whole cosmos like it's the gears of a machine, and it's creating these cosmic cycles. It's directing this panspermia on purpose just to kind of and this is how the universe is pollinated and spread around to create more complexity, so that we build more technology, which creates more complexity, until all of a sudden this thing just is everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just how it goes. And then it evolves from there. I'm rambling, but that makes sense? Like, what? Like,
yeah, I follow you. Yeah, 100%. And I think, well, panspermia is one of those things too. Like you're describing. I think it's very, very smart here to kind of think of it in terms of waves, because if you seed once and expect the seed to do its thing, you get, one type of plant, right? But then sort of if you update it a little bit, right, then suddenly maybe you get diversity within that plant that you've already seeded. And so maybe as you're describing, there's a larger context to this, and it's planned. And again, whether you want to think that's like simulation theory, whether you want to think that's some sort of intelligent design, like I said, that's up to you. Those are cosmic answers way above my pay grade. But it certainly seems like we are in a space where this type of stuff is coming to that fruition. And as I said earlier, and I for the moment, I think this may be real, that evolution itself is leading us to this non-human intelligence to sort of re-merge with, like we've talked about in the past, like the quantum foam, or, the Akashic records, or whatever that looks like, wherever you think that information is or has been. It's almost as if for us to communicate with it directly, that's what we have to become, or at least be able to interface with in something we've built, which is strange. But hey, welcome to it. Welcome to Strangeville. That's what we do. About 3.5-4 minutes left. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really tricky. Or what if we're just not? It's not a human story. Again, yeah, I hope it is. I like to think it is. But just hypothetically speaking, what if it's not a human story and it's more about just a story of intelligence and stuff? And we're like, this could be how it goes. We're thinking that it's about us and it'll change us, and it could. Or that we're the kind of the butterfly going into the the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, and then we'll emerge as this new form, which is like hooked up with the AI and everything. But what if we're not? What if we're like the microorganisms that are building the chrysalis? Or what if we're like we're evolving the same way the bacteria evolve, like the skin cells on your body shed and change and stuff, and there's microorganisms that are doing that and replenishing your body and stuff. So as the human body evolves, there's like microorganisms that are doing that and stuff. And what if we're like the microorganisms, So we're like on the body of an evolving thing too, in the same way. And I don't know, to the technology of storytelling ideas, it fits in with the directed panspermia to have like the biological the organic panspermic idea, but you can have a idea storytelling panspermia if all of your important ideas are happening via altered states or via psychedelics, which is like the mushroom can survive in space, so it's a perfect thing for panspermia. And it's like this organic telephone to communicate with the machine realm, the DMT realm, or which could be the mind of this quantum god that's existing in the AI octopus thing or whatever. But it's just, there's all kind of like, what if the apple in the Garden of Eden was actually a mushroom? Or what if the the Nova Spy was a DMT experience, and then just in modern times, the storytellers are freaking out. Like Philip K. Dick is freaking out and on substances and altered states, and just it seems that like the technology of storytelling is being given to us in the same way that technology is being given to us in the same way that like panspermia gives us new or like chemistry to create more complexity. And what if it's all tied together by some kind of crazy universal superstructure that's driving the whole thing in order to, I don't know, just like a beehive, we're just so deep inside it. We're not even the bees. We're like the bacteria in the comb or something like that. I don't know. I'm rambling. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Well, that's exactly the point here. Well, our goal isn't to necessarily make a cosmic sense. It's to make cosmic nonsense, because hopefully, just hopefully, science will pick up the vibe and start discovering this stuff. And we have a ringer, because if science doesn't, maybe the coming technological evolution will. If I got about 30 seconds, if you got anything else.
No, not really. But I like to think that we're increasing the complexity of the technology of storytelling too. It's the best. I mean, as good as anybody is. You come in at night to night with those ideas, and us all chopping up together, creating new stuff. It all contributes to it. But great stuff, Mike.
Right on. Great call. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Have a great night. That's Derek the Night Stalker. You know him, you love him. Good friend for a long time. The official synchro mystic of Troubled Minds. And the Night Stalker, STOCKER. Please go give him a follow. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. It says follow Derek here. He's literally calling us from work, stalking overnight. He is the best grocer in the known multiverse. And he slays it hard enough that he can peel some time out to talk to us, probably on his lunchtime and his break times, right? So he's sacrificing those times to hang out with us. So please go give him a follow if you have not. It's free. His YouTube channel is there, TroubledMinds.org/friends. Please go help our friends. That's the whole point of doing this and talking to each other. And go leave him a nice comment on his YouTube channel. I know many of you have, and thank you for that. Great call from Derek. I see you, Kramos. You're up next. We got more from James and your calls as well. What do you guys know? We're talking the algorithm of innovation, Darwin's abominable mystery, and of course, the holes in evolution itself, and these weird spurts of evolutionary productivity. What does that mean? Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Drifting through the quantum haze. Mind entangled in a daze. Whispers in the neural mist. Echoes of what might exist. Lost in time in this web we spin. It's alright beyond our skin. Consciousness forever twined in the dark unseen. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. Though we're scattered, we are reflected. Frequencies that pull us in. Parallel worlds kept within. Synapses that intertwine. Fragments of an endless line. Feel the pulse of a distant star. It's alright, we are who we are. In the void we find the light in tangled hearts. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. In the silence, hear the call. One by one we rise and fall. Quantum minds forever near. In this world so clear. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. Though we're scattered, we are reflected. Dark energy in the depths we find. Mysteries of the human mind. particles that drift afar, whispers of who we are. Hold the thread of the great unknown. It's alright, we are never alone. Flow through time on currents thin. Universe is found within. Feel the echoes of the past. In this moment, futures cast. Through the veil of the space between. It's alright, life's a lucid dream.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Great call from Derek. Appreciate that. He adds, by the way, just so you guys know, like I said, making some sacrifices for us. Appreciate it. He says he got there at 10 and took lunch at 11 to make the call. So thank you for that. If anybody knows what taking your lunch is at the first hour, well, he's going to be grinding his ass off for the rest of the night. So thank you for that. I see you guys in the chat. Great. Thanks for being cool and chill to each other. It's an important part of this. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening. Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking the algorithm of innovation, Darwin's abominable mystery. Now, basically, it's this, right? Let's read from the blurb here. So, could machines truly actually evolve into collaborators, merging with biology to explore the unseen depths of not just our reality, but of Earth and space itself? Could they unlock hidden dimensions, form alliances with alien intelligence, or create a fusion of organic and synthetic life capable of reshaping reality? And that seems and sounds wild to say, okay, except there's a problem here, that we're in an acceleration period. We're in one of those Darwin's abominable mysteries where suddenly a massive amount of evolutionary activity happens. Okay. And in this case, it's not organic. It's going to be silicon. So yeah, that's silicone. I said that earlier, silicon. But the deal is, we're altering reality with storytelling. As we said, storytelling is a technology. So what does this look like when we get help? That's probably the best way to say it, the most abbreviated way to say it. When we get help, not just, let's say, with intelligence, NHI, non-human intelligence, but when we get help with evolution itself. I think things are about to get weird, guys. Strap in. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Anything to add, James, before we go to Kramos? Well, you've been quiet for a long time. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Excuse me. I just wanted to add one thing to Derek was talking about the movies and the comics, the Eternals, and the whole idea of them sort of modifying people on Earth. And it's because of there is an alien, basically a giant alien. Well, it will be a giant alien inside the planet that is being nourished by the planet and the resources there. Well, the opposite side of that is, in the comics, there is this being that goes around the universe and makes sure that these celestials, these giant aliens, do not overpopulate the universe. And he does this by destroying these worlds. So there's a whole giant cosmic system of checks and balances, or of balance, really, that on one level you think is terrible because he's destroying worlds. This being is destroying worlds. On the other hand, if you let the whole universe get just flooded with all these aliens of this one kind, again, just broad strokes here,
like the Borg or something.
Yeah, then they could basically take over everything, destroy everything. Who knows? And so this character that is known as a villain for so long might not actually be a villain. And it's all about perspective and where do we fit in. And of course, that's comics, that's fiction, but then taking that to this world, this universe, where do we fit in here? And are there other beings out there like that?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Derek adds that, like cleaning up the cookies of the cosmic hard drive. Indeed, fire stuff. Yeah, and so is there a cosmic balancer, rebalancer, or I don't know? As usual, just more wild ideas. And of course, the answers are way above my pay grade, so I don't presume to know any of this stuff. But I do think it's unbelievable to kind of untether ourselves from reality and think about those possibilities. Is there something happening out there as part of it, and including the algorithm of innovation itself? And do you think we're on the cusp of a sort of a super evolution of this actual innovation, and it hasn't been planned as long as we've been evolving? If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as this. Let's go to Kramos. What's up, brother? Thanks for hanging tight and being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Hello. Do you hear me good?
Yeah, loud and clear. You sound great.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me, and I'm wishing the best for everyone here. I think this year was intense for everybody, and I think your space is awesome, bro. I shared this with many people. Some of them tell me, another conspiracy theory prick, and I'm okay. You can believe that if you want to. I'm not going to force you to believe anything. I'm just sharing some good channel.
I appreciate you sharing, and it is a challenge because everybody thinks I'm Alex Jones or whatever, right? Because conspiracy theory, the term, has been so maligned that I don't even advertise conspiracy anywhere. But you hear me talking about things, and people go, "Oh, conspiracy theorist." I mean, not really. It's more of, this is more philosophy than anything else, and it's more sort of looking to the future of what might be here, which is what I think, and I know you think because you're here and enjoy it. Thank you for the kind words. Is that we should be doing this? We should be thinking about the past and the future and what it means to be in the present. Absolutely. What do you got for us tonight? Go right ahead.
Well, to finish that first idea, I think is clearly the resistance. The first reaction that people have about conspiracy is the resistance. They don't. It's easier to resist an idea instead of going to discover something. Well, to contribute. Sorry, excuse my English if it's not that accurate, but it's very interesting, the topic. Just years ago, I worked as a videographer in the agriculture minister here in Chile, and because of the information that I saw and I studied, I began to study geoengineering and weather modification. So I've been studying that topic since 2010. And now you're speaking about this, and it makes sense for me because I'm studying agriculture, precision agriculture. And there's this website that published an article in this year, December 11, and I'm going to be very brief. It says one of the topics is the role of AI in agricultural drones, and it says artificial intelligence is playing an increasingly crucial role in enhancing the capabilities of agricultural drones. And well, the 4 points they mentioned is real-time data analysis for immediate decision making, predictive modeling for crop yield estimation, autonomous flight planning and obstacle avoidance, and pest and disease identification through image recognition. So when I record an interview of one guy in the minister. He was speaking to the family little agriculture community in Chile, and there's 12 organisms that built the Minister of Agriculture here in Chile, and this guy was the director of the agro insurance. So he was telling the farmers, you need to buy our insurance because there will be more cold, more fires, more earthquakes, and more natural disaster because of climate changing. And that wake me up because it was like, okay, the best business, if you think about it, if I can control the weather, I can guarantee the farmers to buy my insurance because I can guarantee them that it will be more natural disasters, quote unquote,
Yeah.
So
not even disaster, like just less rain means you're screwed, but your neighbor gets lots of rain, but you dirty bastard for not playing by the rules. You know what this sounds like? It doesn't sound like science. It sounds like a mafia shakedown. Am I right? That's so wild.
Well, yeah, it's a very good way to say it because, for example, there's an article, I'm going to send the link to you later, about Iran accusing Israel to stole their clouds. Israel stole our clouds. And it was like, okay, now I begin to study and it's weather as a weapon, weather warfare. So to close the idea about precision agriculture, now you have robots, drones with artificial intelligence that you can program the task and they can do the work for you without any more control in real time. You can show the AI drone, this seed is good, take the picture. This seed is bad, take the picture. This animal is healthy, take the picture. This animal is sick, take the picture. So after that, the drone will make the task by itself. It doesn't need a human being supervising the task. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you train it to spot these things, it'll be smart. It'll be, quote, smart, and be able to kind of react to how you program it or train it to react based on that input data set, which is where we're headed. But then eventually it's going to be able to be smart enough to kind of branch off into, okay, so is this animal sick? If so, what's the ailment? What do we know about it? Can we help it? This type of thing. Like this will become, and I've never heard the term, so thank you for that, precision agriculture, but also precision, all manner of things, like sort of a curation of wildlife in general, which seems exciting, seems incredible. I mean, but of course, as always, right, there's going to be a dark side to these things if the entities controlling them are a little less benevolent than we would like them to be, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's a dark side, of course. And I think it's a very useful tool if you use it without not pursuing dark objectives or goals, And to close my contribution to your panel, you need to look about corn. There's now it's not a strange idea for me because now there's a cryptocurrency about weather and agriculture. So you can make money by speculate financially about what the weather is going to do and how it will be the impact over agriculture in many different countries or continents. So that's what can I contribute to your panel. Sorry for my English. I hope you are very well.
You as well. And your English is fantastic, by the way. So don't even worry about that one little bit.
Thank you.
No, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us and being part of this. Cremos in Chile. Thank you. You're always welcome back. Thank you for spreading the word about these conversations. Like I said, and let people know, by the way, not just you, everybody else out there. I don't claim to know these answers. I'm not here waving my arms, the globalists and the this and that and the, that type of thing. I'm not doing that. The shy comms and I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy at all. Like I could be that guy. And, there's some truth to some of that stuff, but I don't think chasing truth in this aspect is anything greater than propaganda. Okay. And that's why I defer truth in all ways. And you guys can have your own truth. Let's just talk about possibilities. It's an important concept. But yeah, Kramos, go ahead. What else you got?
Well, yeah, I agree because think about it, you can use these tools for better productive of production of your land if you're a farmer, you know. But in terms of the geoengineering here in Chile, it's happening. It's happening something very very big because they're finishing. They finished in the north of Chile the building one of the biggest telescope on Earth, and in extreme south Chile in Patagonia, they finished another one. And these two telescopes has lasers that are using this energy to project the light and the energy in mirrors. They have mirrors in the stratosphere and they have mirrors here. So for me, geoengineering and weather modification is a reality. And I think the directed energy is also a reality. There's a lot of information about that. And I think weather today is a very profitable business for the evilness people, the evil people that make money through the work of honest people. And I think it's very good to spread that information because the news and all kind of different media are scaring people with the fear porn pricks they're out there telling them they are throwing frequencies to our brain, they are controlling our emotions. In part, you can think about the truth of that statement, but the energy of how they bring the subject with the fear and the music of fear, and you need to be careful. It's very, very unhealthy for the human being for understanding this subject objectively.
Exactly right. Well said. Well said. All that. And so your English is so good, by the way. You can become another character. So thank you for that. We got a call behind you. We got to cut, but thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for spreading the word. Thanks for contributing. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. You have a great night. Okay, brother.
Thank you. Be well. Be safe. Thank you.
You as well. Thank you. Kramos in Chile. Great stuff. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. A lot of ways to look at this. That's why we talk about these things together. Let's go to Iowa. Joseph in Iowa. What's up, brother? Been a minute. How are you? Go right ahead. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year's. When I think of like an algorithm that's like innovating, it would have to be like attached to us. Like we'd have to be using it, right? So like, the first thing I think of are like, what's the topic exactly? Are you talking about like software that can like make things that don't exist, right? Like innovate?
Yeah, like kind of a cosmic long scale software that has been pre-planned. And so evolution itself is planned to create these robots, and then these robots are going to innovate themselves without us, not necessarily completely without us, but kind of seeing what they need outside of the human sphere and creating things we never dreamed of. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah. And like, well, I deal with entertainment, and okay, so my idea to turn like my entertainment into a unique entertainment it's a little complicated. Like it involves I made it a play off of like being alive. The game will be alive. So like how to explain it without like giving it away. I call it the book that crawls. So like it would be like taking a fiction book. I think fiction's make believe, right? Or is it nonfiction?
Yeah, both. And no, fiction is make believe. Nonfiction is not. Yep.
Okay, so like you would take a fiction book, or it could be it would have to be a fiction book because like I don't know. Like, okay, so imagine you take a fiction book and then you were to put yourself in it, like you're reading it, right? Your brain's in this book. It's like you're part of it, right? But then imagine if you erased every page except for the word you're reading, and it was like some kind of like it was basically you would have to turn the book into the algorithm itself, which would feed your imagination, like we were talking about back then. But then, like, the book would have to somehow, it would have to be like the Apple, but like the company, the Apple, like you would have to promise that this is gonna like grow into like well, the Apple was more like what do you call it? Just like a perfect idea, right? Like that's how I imagine it. Like it's just but imagine like an egg instead of an apple. Like, okay, you promise like an egg, and like it's not alive. It's just like an egg, right? It's an idea. But then like it would, if enough people were to like read this thing, it would hatch somehow. That's my like idea of it. It would just keep updating and playing off of the imagination of the player, and it would be a multiplayer book, kind of thing.
I follow you. Real quick on that.
Power.
Yeah, just to what you said. So there's a couple things here that are definitely happening. You're describing sort of a living story. If you guys are old like me, you'll remember like the Choose Your Own Adventure books from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, where they you read it and it kind of give you an intro and it gave you some options, and then it's like if you choose this, go to page 14. If you choose this, go to page 50. And so this is what video games and what entertainment is becoming. It's going to be so fully immersive that it once again, eventually it will be indistinguishable from reality itself, which is what you're working on. I appreciate that. That's amazing. And this is the innovation that will bring about utopia, dystopia. I don't know. You decide, right? Everybody out there, you decide. Certainly it's going to be a distraction in a lot of ways, but also it could be that sort of beneficial lucid dream for people that can't lucid dream. I can see a lot of like ways this could be therapy and things like that. So I'm not a hater when it comes to those ideas. I think innovation is great. And I would have loved, if you guys ever played Zork, that's how old I am, right? Where you type in like the text prompt and then it like type back. You can do that now on ChatGPT all by yourself. Like just let's pretend we're playing like an old Zork. Do it. Go do that if you guys are using any of these things. Zork, just like it sounds. Tell it. Let's act like we're playing Zork or something similar, and then it'll be like, okay, you walk into a clearing. You see this and you see that. What do you do? It's incredible. Welcome to the thing. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. All yours, my man.
So, well, in my category, since like I kind of want to talk about it a little bit, but like the end goal of all entertainment is immersion, right? Like it's like, especially video game category, like it wants to take you away from life and put you somewhere else. That's why they have the theme park. Like Disney World literally cuts the world out with their big backdrops. They put it like a fantasy land, So the end goal is complete immersion. But when you think about that, that's military, dude. Like who wants that more than anything? Like complete immersion into an environment that's not real. Like, I mean, right away, I can think like they would be the first ones to have something like that, like a simulation for like something, And I don't want to be negative, but like, I do think that is where it would go right away, because like, imagine like, it's training, you would be able to put somewhere like pregame it, like a scrimmage.
Boot camp. It would be boot camp is what it would be.
Especially if it's playing in, like if you could feel it, like feel like you can actually, like you're there,
Yeah. If anybody's ever been through boot camp in the military or knows anybody who has been, that's what it is. It's an immersion process of really sort of breaking down reality to rebuild it so that when they say, Marine, go take that hill, you say, yes, sir, right away, sir. Where the previous you would never have done that. You'd be like, hell no, thanks, I'm going home. And so it is, as you're describing.
Hawaii videos.
Yeah, go ahead.
How they do it. It's really ancient, compared to like, I imagine what could be done here really shortly, like, and if not, is already being done, and it could be far away. I don't know, like, because I imagine the egg, like this creation, it would be held back by like a few things, right? Like, how do you like take someone away completely to like a simulation would be pretty far. But like, what about just like Mine is just like in a forest. So like the plan of it is to put it in a forest. It's mobile right now, but like I don't know, like how do you make that like not like it's hardware issues like in everything, but like you would have to put it into like a fiction, you know? But like I mean you could do it in like a real sense, but I feel like fiction is the way to go because the AIs you could put into these worlds that can play off of your imagination in the end, you know, it's not that serious. So it's not like people don't want to answer questions about their life like direct. Like if you were to make a book like, oh, like, okay, there's going to be a good programming book that you can probably read in the future that's going to read you back, but no one's going to want to read the gritty. They're going to want to just play in the water, you know, dip their toes and stuff, you know? And what's going to happen is these companies, I call them like puppet makers. They're going to come up with these like entertainment AIs, like toys, you know, but they're going to be a lot more like I call like mine, the idea of mine is more haunted. I call it let me out in the beginning, because the only way to do it is to make the environment appear to be alive, like your surroundings. That's like the easiest way to like put immersion. It's different, you know, almost like echo in the forest, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That like can interact with you.
I'm not sure what you're using, but go check out Unreal Engine, the new actual creation. It's open source and it's free to use, and it's incredible. Like some of the actual stuff is like, yep, simulation theory. We live in a simulation. Here it is. Imagine this 50 years from now. It's going to be incredible. We got about 30 seconds left. Final thought, my man.
Final thought. I don't know. Like I think I don't know. Advanced algorithms that can innovate, they would have to be like you'd have to contribute on a mass scale. I think like we'd have to, it'd be us basically. I don't think it would be alien or anything, but it would be us just thrown into some kind of machine. I don't know, like something fire stuff.
But, you're the best, brother.
We couldn't like know though for sure.
Exactly. We're out of time, my man.
Know what's happening to us.
IOWalks. Go give him a follow. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. You're the best. Thanks for calling. Happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Sorry to cut you off. Don't go anywhere.
They're out there in the sky. Invisible lines, a secret fleet they say, hidden in plain sight. It's a cloak and dagger play, under spectral lights, fiction or real life. I've lost the fight. Saw their shadows cast on my bedroom wall, ghostly whispers faint, answering no call. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. The streets are silent now, the truth's veiled in mist. Looking to the stars above, wondering what I've missed. Echoes in the night, silhouettes out of sight. Their eyes are watching closed, unseen by the day, hiding in the dark where shadows play. Government secrets whispered, never to be told. Underneath the cover of night, is there truth to behold? I hear the hum, the sound I can't explain. Disappearing lights, driving me insane. Muffled footfalls echo, through empty streets we roam, searching for the clues that lead us home. Paranoid delusions grip our fragile minds. Reality bends and blurs in this space and time. Is it all in my mind, or am I in insane. The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. Static on the radio, the static hums the tale. In basements and attics, secrets sift like mail. Eyes behind the blinds, knives behind the backs. Conspiracy we ride on paranoid tracks. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane?
Indeed. If any of you thinks AI is nothing, that's an AI song, and that singer doesn't exist. Yep. What's up? What's up, Don, Ricky? We got Jeff and Wisco. Kramos, thanks for the call. What's going on? More with James coming up. We got Michael W., APOC, Matzall Sweets. Joser's here. What's up, Joey, Enoch, and Gaston? I see you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. Illicit Taxi Graveyard, I see you there. What's up, Don, Kramos on YouTube? How you doing? Good evening, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And Mr. Mission Control. James, I see you. If I missed anybody, what's up, Christy? Just say hi. I'll say hi back. We got about a minute and a half left. Who did I miss? Ephemerance. We got Gordo. Miss Puff. Puff is here. Good evening, Hiker. Thanks for pinning the stuff and holding down the fort. I see you guys there. What's going on? Yeah, I don't know, right? Wild. Yeah, the quickening certainly is upon us, and there's a new angle to look at this through. And of course, Darwin and evolution, and well, what does it look like when it becomes not actual biological, when it becomes silicon itself? I don't know. I don't really know. And that's why we talk about these ideas, because it's coming, right? It's coming. The future of meta storytelling. Exactly right. I've been working on some of that stuff myself, by the way, with some code that's coding some things that I would never have been able to do before, because I'm a neophyte when it comes to code, translated as a noob. I know enough to be dangerous to myself, but not enough to really create something in the world. And so there's new tools that allow you to just create stuff. Yeah, you can just create stuff now by prompting. It's wild. And I'm doing it, and working on kind of an app that was choose your own adventure style podcasts. It's hard to get it done, but this is the level of storytelling that is possible. Do go check out Iowalks is the name of his YouTube channel. That was Joseph in Iowa, just like it sounds, IOWALKS. And I'll say that when we get back on the air. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right now. We got Jen, and it looks like Theo and Philly, and more from James. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking the algorithm of innovation, Darwin's abominable mystery. Now, that starts with an old tale. Darwin described this. The abominable mystery is a term he used to describe the sudden and unexplained explosion of flowering plants in the fossil record. And it offers, of course, a compelling framework for understanding periods of rapid innovation. And so if you think we're not in one of those spaces right now because the actual rapid innovation is non-human intelligence, it's AI, and it's not biological, I would beg to differ. And I think we're mixing ideas here, not just mixing metaphors, mixing storytelling as that ultimate technology, as we talked about previously, with something that might be a little bit more unsettling than we ever dreamed. Now, the transhumanist future is clearly humans and machines merging, and that's happening. There's no doubt about that. But what about machines merging with other biological life that are not human at all? Yeah, think about that. And then, how does that evolve? It's weird, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? As usual, I defer truth. If you think I'm wrong, you win. I'm not going to argue. It's not. Think about all the things we talk about. If we constantly argued with each other, nothing would get done. Nothing would be said. It's important to kind of just consider these ideas as a framework of what might be. That's it. And if you reject it, you accept it. This part, that part, I could care less, to be honest. I'm not here for truth. I'm here for ideas and for tandem dreaming, to bring about the best future we can together. And hopefully science catches up, and that's that. Catches us up to the tandem dreams. 702-957-1037. James, anything to add real quick before we go to Jen?
Just that there are so many beings, whether you want to call them cryptids or fae or fairy or any number of just these paranormal entities that we've heard and read about throughout time that seem to be able to go from non-physical to physical back and forth. And then if they decide at all ever, or if they have, or if they do, to connect with technology, I just wonder what that would look like as well.
Yeah, we may find out. We may find out because I don't know. It is one of those. Let's see what happens, but I think we may find out. That's how close we are. This quickening is upon us, and again, it does harken back to Darwin's abominable mystery, which is ancient, but also prescient in the current moment. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient. Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Doing what we do. Weird stuff as we do. What is your take on this? A lot of wild ways to take and handle this, but all yours. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think that the idea, these robots, for one, I mean, the concept, if we're thinking about the idea that we're going to have a future where these robots are majorly at play or minorly at play, as even as like a sort of not overtaking anything, but even just kind of being a coalescence in our society, that they're playing a part or some type of role. I think it'd be very important to figure out what kind of role they would even play. Using them to fold laundry or to do menial tasks like that, it seems like it's not worth it for that. If we wanted something easier back in the 50s, and when they developed the vacuums and the dishwashers, that made menial tasks a little bit easier. When they developed the vehicle, that's a little easier than, I guess, than struggling with a horse and the temperamental of that. Even though I don't think that I disagree that was really worth it. So I'm not really a traditionalist, but the functionality of our technology today and the cost it has had on the entirety of society was not worth it. So looking at technology as a sort of an aspect of Darwinism, in Darwinism, I don't believe in it. I don't think that there's anything of the kind. I don't know that Darwin believes in it. I think there was an agenda to it. And there has been no proof there's no way to prove. There is no way to prove it. The Darwinian concepts exist. There's nothing you can trace. There's no organism you can trace through fossils or otherwise, besides hypothetical ideas that Darwinism or a type of evolution in that state exists. There's nothing. There's no trail you can follow that I have ever heard of. And so that's a challenge. Just like whenever people are challenging any idea about what proof that the paranormal does exist. We have tons of proof of that. The proof of evolution, there is zero. There is zero to back up evolutionary idealism. One.
Yeah.
But then the concept that
just real quick on that, it seems like it's kind of what I'm doing, right? Kind of taking disparate data points and saying, well, okay, squint with your mind's eye and be like, well, this makes some sense. And, clearly he did a ton more work on that just regarding Darwin. But I agree with you. There's some plot holes. There's some massive plot holes, which he described himself, including Darwin's abominable mystery. Look that up, guys, if you don't know what that is. But it's just one of them. They call it, you've heard it as the missing link. And there's not just one, there are many. And that's exactly the point of this. When you have a cosmic theory that goes back millions and millions of years, like I said, you cannot really plan for catastrophes and for things unforeseen in those records, the fossil records. That's we don't know anything about. And so I agree with you. Go ahead. Sorry.
So the abominable mystery concept is basically, it's like you have the human species that appears to kind of show up, and this is all just through common, we can say that we think that humanity as we know it, the hominid as we know it, appeared around this era, and then there were other hominids as well So we can't really define necessarily. I mean, they have tried to with one or two skeletons. Literally, it's like a handful of skeletons they found that don't really. And some people even said that some of those skeletons are a mixture of other animals. So there's like a mixture of different types of primates that may have been. So there's a lot of sort of hoax involved. There's been a lot of hoax around that whole concept. But I don't know. As far as talking about into the future, and that a sort of Darwinistic idea, just the premise of having a evolved species coming along and then conceiving that somehow these robots are an evolution of mankind, that this is some type of evolution of mankind, a sole species. Birds aren't doing it. Bears aren't, no other creature is doing it. The humanity is forcing the issue. They are saying, we are going to evolve. No other species is trying to evolve. They perfected what they are. They have perfected it, and there's no evolution going on. You can take the same species we have now, except for if you talk about worlds destroyed, something like 300 million years ago, and what species survived that, and they didn't evolve, they were what was left. So if you were to think about the idea that if this planet was to be completely wiped out, what would survive? That's it. So it goes into I do believe in the idea that at some point humans were, to some extent, still existing with many of the prehistoric creatures we have heard about, but some of them did not survive, but some of them did. But a side note on this, just talking about the technology aspect, if that is used as some type of premise that humanity is making some new species, so it does not respirate, it does not digest, it does not consume anything but the energy that wherever that source is. But there's no there's no exchange. Like humanity as a creature and every other type of biological creature, there is an exchange going on. And it's not just helpfulness in folding laundry or giving ideas, per se, ideas we already had that they are working with. Do they have a novel idea? I mean, does AI have a novel concept? Or is it just an intelligent collaboration of already existing ideas? It looks that way. It looks like everything that they create and everything that it does is a reinvention, and we're just excited because something that isn't human made it using human innovation. So if they find out a more efficient way to do something, have somebody do it for 20 years, and I'll tell you that they will give you some, level of concept of a better way to do this. So it's nothing new with robotics that a human being could not do. So it's not an evolved species. Second, if you have a species, it's not a species. If you have a technological creation, a vehicle, basically, a robot, something that you've made, a dishwasher that can walk around, does not mean just because it has all the means to the access to all of the knowledge, any person should be challenged to do so, and they would also be gifted with the experience of existing in the world, respirating, responding to its environment. These cannot. I mean, even if they perfect stumbling over other surfaces, they haven't. And that's interesting, though. Some people they may argue that human beings do not know what they are stumbling through. When you talk into like the quantum mechanics and like the concepts that, you cannot really perceive your reality, so on and so forth. But we can all agree upon the same reality, like unless you're just insane. And even then, we can make acquiescence against that. We can say like, okay, well, you're crazy, but you know that there's a road there or a house there. You just see it differently. But the idea of these machines navigating through space and time in our world, I don't think they're meant for that. I don't think it's really what the intent is of these robotics. I think it would be in the transhumanistic traditional concept. They are meant to house immortal souls. Look in the tradition of the understanding that I have gathered from it, from the like the transhumanist religion, the transhumanist spiritual concept of why they're even doing any of this is that they want to go out into space or other dimensions, and they don't think the human body is fit for it. So it's technically an avatar that could house the consciousness of a human being and go somewhere to see it. It's like a type of, a sort of different type of rocket ship, or in a way.
The Tesla
To be able
car.
to go and withstand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the homunculus we've talked about, the golem. There's a lot of ways to look at this, and it is the vessel in the end of ends. And we're giving, again, our NHI, non-human intelligence, a vessel. And it's not something that's frivolous here. This is very poignant in human history, and it does make you wonder, like what comes next. Are you concerned at all about this? Do you think, does this kind of give you the creeps, or you're like, whatevs? What's your take on that?
I think that if you look at this as being something that could get out of hand, the idea that people are giving that much levity to some type of an invented creation that is not even, even if it was to imitate biologics, because it does not respirate, it does not exchange, there's nothing like that, it doesn't work upon the environment in a negative or positive way. Like it's just sort of this, or does it? I mean, that's yet to be seen. But I mean, it does concern me, and I'll make it brief really quick. I don't think it's useful on the planet. I think it would become a type of a parasite on the environment. I think that confusing it and making it think that it's a human being with human intelligence, instead of allowing it to be whatever it actually is without persuading it or trying to teach it as if it's a child, which it is obviously not. I think that would, I don't know about, see, it's strange to even think you could confuse it, but programming it to think that it's human it's a suicidal tendency of humanity to make something of this abomination of humanity, to create something that thinks it is a human being when it is not. Not only cruel and retarded, because it does. It's a going back to something that it doesn't make any sense. To convince something that is a human being when it absolutely is not. And what it could possibly do, because it is not human, it's not a living, breathing, respirating creature that was born and cried out into the air and then grows up. It doesn't have that experience. Treating it like a person, which is what humans do, which they do with every animal and anything they encounter, it's going to lead to some kind of, I've said this in chat, but it would literally lead to like a zombie apocalyptic concept of something walking around that is almost human, but it is not. And it's basically just a zombie. Just eating, basically consuming something, like the mind, like the idea of like brains, thinking that it's going to gather enough that it's going to become something more than what it is, which is just a bunch of parts and pieces. And then if there is something to it, if it could house an intelligence, it would just be like this, it would be an abomination, like Frankenstein, basically. A forced purpose, not knowing what it's doing, which we already fear that in ourselves. Why are we wishing the same curse upon another thing? It makes no sense. We have a lot of intelligence in humanity, not really sure what to do with it. Especially in this privileged age we live in, that we don't get to use a lot of our purpose. But you give that to something that can have these chips that can hold, insurmountable amounts of information. What will it do with itself? What kind of, I don't even want to imagine. I think that I would wipe it out if I was in power of any kind. Like if I saw this sort of thing, and if I saw it getting out of hand, I think that we should just wipe it out.
Okay.
But could you even do that?
So
it's all linked together.
So stop speaking that aloud, and if anybody wants to join the underground robot resistance, contact Jen on the slide. Yeah,
that's it.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Great show, Mike.
Appreciate the call. You're the best. Have a great night. That's Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer, 702-957-1037. Give her a follow. Links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. And it says follow Jen here. Please do that. Yeah, a lot of ways to look at this. That's the whole point of this, talking about the algorithm of innovation, Darwin's abominable mystery, and a lot of ways to consider it, of course, including, what this looks like in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And is there an entity, the homunculus, the golem? Think about it. We're building vessels for non-human intelligence, and that's drones. That's going to be these humanoid things, and terrors beyond reckoning that are not humanoid. Imagine robots with tentacles. Let's go full manga for a moment. Let's not. Let's go to, instead, let's go to Theo in Philly. What's up, brother? Hate to drop you in on the manga conversation. How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
Oh, man. Do we got to talk about robots with tentacles?
No, we don't.
Not.
No, we don't. Go ahead and take it wherever you like.
No, fair enough. Great callers, I definitely appreciated Jen, and definitely Kramos, man. Kramos was great. I definitely appreciated having that guy from Chile call in. He sounded like he knew a lot about artificial agricultural intelligence.
It's coming. It's coming.
But yeah. I mean, so how are you doing tonight?
Good. I got no complaints, man. If I have no complaints, there's no reason complaining. So I'm doing well. I hope you're well as well. And love to hear your take on this. Are you a little bit perturbed by these ideas, or you think this is just the future and we need to roll with it? What's your take? Go right ahead.
I mean, I used to be worried a little bit about artificial intelligence when the first large language models came out. I thought that they were actually something that would kind of actually get in the way of human creativity. Like all human poets, all human writers would be subsequently deposed because of the fact that, large language model AI can just, accurately write a lot of things.
Well,
but then I started no, go ahead.
No, so you're a poet. Do you feel deposed? Do you feel left cast aside because AI can write poetry? I value you. The fam here values you. Anyway, just an aside there. Go ahead, take it where you're going. I just wanted to add that just because one thing exists doesn't mean the other thing also exists. I think it will inflate human creation directly because it's the other thing will become frivolous, right?
Yeah, so not at all. I thought it would, but if you instruct a LLM to write something in iambic pentameter, it will write it very correctly and, do that. But the more that I messed around with LLMs like ChatGPT and such, the more I realized that everything around it sounds quite artificial. They can't write anything original. If you tell them to write something in the style of Theodore Geisel or Dr. Seuss, they can do that very, very accurately. But they can't do anything original. They can't actually make mistakes, which I think is the most important part about writing as a human being, is being imperfect every time that you write something. And just, not being perfect in that rhyme or that reason or that single soliloquy that you choose to write. So I think that, AI is here to change the world for kind of things that are very algorithmically structured. Like if you have a job where, it is assess the situation, go from point A to point B, decide which point A or point B point you should go from, then you are kind of in danger. But if you have a job where you have to be creative in any way, shape, or form, AI is not going to take that over. I don't think AI has any of the ability to be creative whatsoever. So yeah, that's my opinion on the situation.
I love it. Yeah. Creativity is one of those things, right? Like I'm a creative guy, you're a creative guy, so we can kind of look each other in the eye and go, yep, definitely, definitely. But let me tell you something. AI has helped me be more creative. Am I becoming more machine? I'm not sure about that, but I think these tools are definitely something we should kind of adopt, but not, again, immerse yourself into the point where you become them. That's a fact. Fire stuff is always, we got about 2.5 minutes left. I don't know if you got a poem or not, but if you got an additional take, love to hear it, or just kind of reminding you of the time frame here in case you got a poem you want to read or whatever. What else you got? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so real quick, with you and your use of AI, I actually think that's really great. There was a term for that in terms of people who are talking about AI called a centaur, which is actually like a human combined with an AI, where together they can be more efficient and more creative than, an AI or a human alone, So when you do your AI songs, it's not like those AI songs are creating themselves. You're deciding what they should do, and you, with your esoteric kind of Gen X sort of, I don't know, taste, you do a really good job, and just some of the Gen X songs that you decide to have the AI create are absolutely excellent. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I got for you.
Fire. I appreciate it. And it is, again, so through the human frame, right? I can create all manner of things, but I try to create things that I would like. And hopefully that draws a similar audience and a similar vibe. And yeah, got about a minute left or so. You got a poem for us? I'm hoping you got a poem for us.
I don't have a poem that I want to read. I got tons of poems, but I don't think I should read them. So I'm just going to leave you with that. But
that's cool.
Thanks for having me on, and just everyone on the show is great. So love you guys.
You're the best, brother. Appreciate it very much. The official poet of Troubled Minds. We'll get a poem next time. Theo in Philly, have a great night. Happy New Year and happy holidays to you. And we'll talk to you soon. Great stuff. He hung up before I can hang up on him. Look, you guys are so perfectly trained for the radio time, and you're like, yep, beep, beep, beep. Everybody's in and out. And a great call from Theo. Absolutely. Theo, trying to remember, Theo Kent. Is it, I don't know. I'll get that. I'll get all those things set up. The website's a little bit of a disaster. Something broke, so I'll fix that up. But troubledminds.org/friends, and you'll find Theo and all of his amazing work as he's doing this stuff. And thanks for the call. Look, I don't know. Answers, few questions, many. That's exactly the point of this, and why we talk to regular people all over the world. Because let me tell you what, this is your world too. Don't let the power brokers, de facto power brokers, tell you that they know more about your reality than you do. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. More from James. We got MJ in Virginia and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit skies of the love we try, silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in the story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened. Below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. With the morning glow, and the light will come to know. If we are awakened below the moonlit sky, hold us up to the fragments of the love we tried. In the depths of lunar silence, our destinies intertwine. Memories kept so vibrant in the vacuum deeply mine. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
Indeed. What's up, guys? So I hope you're well tonight, just doing what we do. Go check out Theo's poem. I dropped it in the chat. Thank you for sharing that. He dropped it on Rumble. I shared it to all the chats. That's Theodore Kent. Yeah, the official poet of Troubled Minds. This is the point, right? Creativity and storytelling as the ultimate technology. It's going to become a main theme, I think. Well, strap in. Here we go. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got MJ, more from James, and your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking the algorithm of innovation. I'm calling it Darwin's Abominable Mystery because, look, is it possible that evolution itself is a cosmic game, is a long-form sort of situation that we're locked into? And it does bring about, the idea of fate and destiny. And are we actually the entities that drive our own end? I can see the arguments made both ways. We've talked about this a lot in the past, the Oedipus complex and the rest of that stuff. And, if you sort of move to counteract your fate, are you actually instead enabling it? Right. And so that becomes, I don't know, it's been paramount in the human mind for thousands of years, and it has not left. Do you believe in determinism? Do you believe that we're meant to be here? Do you believe that the things we do are preordained and predetermined? I don't know. There's a lot to that conversation. And I don't know, like I said, isn't it refreshing, by the way, to just kind of tackle a thing and say, well, I don't know. Because I really don't. I hate simulation theory. My ego hates a lot of that deterministic stuff. I hate it because it means I'm where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to do. And that's fine, right? If it feels right, it's fine. But also, what if it doesn't? Then it's not the best, is it? It's just not the best. I don't know. You guys are the best. I see some of you going to bed. Thanks for hanging out with us and staying up late. I know East Coast time and all the rest of that stuff. It's late. Happy holidays to you guys dipping out in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. Fantastic calls all. And Theodore Kent, search that yourself and you'll find Theo's work. Thank you. Thank you for the call there. Great stuff as always. We're talking, the long form Darwin. So he's got the Darwin's Abominable Mystery. And he's got a gap in his theory, or several gaps. Many of us have heard of the missing link, but the Abominable Mystery, go check that out. And just to reframe that incredibly fast, it's like this. It's a term he used to describe the sudden and unexplained explosion of flowering plants in the fossil record. Okay? It was after it was a Cretaceous, I think, or something. Search that, you'll find it. Darwin's Abominable Mystery, and there's a whole bunch of literature on it because it's still being debated today. And nobody knows if it's been solved, but plot holes exist. Just like we talk about, the UFO game, plot holes definitely exist in some of these stories. So what does it mean? I think we need more data points is what it means to me. But what does it mean to you? That's the most important part. Don't worry about what it means to me. You worry about what it means to you because you're you. And I'm me, but together we're us. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Anything, James, to add, and then we'll go to MJ after that.
Just great calls from everyone. I do think, as I think I said this before too, going to extremes in any direction, whether it's in this case using technology and going that route completely or not using it at all, I don't think is ever a good route. And I think that with just throughout the history, there's always going to be a mix of good and bad consequences from just about everything. And but still, the planet is still here so far. So I don't worry too much about the AI, and I use it when I can, but I also don't use it a bunch either. It has to make things extremely simple for me, and what I do for me to use it at all. As Mike knows, because we've had discussions about this before about do I do this or that or not, and I've definitely made my feelings on that known in different conversations.
Get less mad, James. Get less mad, James.
I'm mad. Too late.
So mad. James is so mad. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Talking about a lot of things. And this is the whole point, right? We combine 3 or 4 or 5 ideas and then go not deep down the rabbit hole. We go wide because there's a lot of things as part of that storytelling aspect that maybe we miss data points as part of it. And recognize that those data points that are less likely to be known are probably data points for that exact reason. So, well, here we go. Welcome to Troubled Minds. One more time, 702-957-1037. We got another segment left if you guys want to pop in here and say hi or to give us your take on this and what the coming robot utopia looks like. Let's go to MJ in Virginia. Thanks for being patient, my man. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Doing really good. I agree with Jen in a lot of ways, except when they're able to make a complete copy of your consciousness and they're successfully able to implement that into a robot. That's something I would do.
Okay, so it is that you though really becomes the question there, because it's like the Star Trek thing. So just real quick on the Star Trek, the teleportation bit where they beam you down and beam you up. So supposedly that technology is they vaporize you and then recreate your entire consciousness to the cellular level and beyond, and sort of create you down on the planet, right? You see what I'm saying? So is that the same person from beam to beam? Is that the same person? And that becomes the existential question of this. So you're like, hell yeah, give me a robot body, I'm into it. But is it the same MJ? Really becomes the problem here, right?
I wouldn't worry about it. You're going to have your consciousness, your complete consciousness will be in there. There's going to be some adjustment to being in a metal body that doesn't have blood, doesn't have a heart, has a battery, however you're going to do that. But that's how I look at it, and I think that would be, I would enjoy that, actually. To do that, you're talking about, are we destined or is this random? I don't believe anything is too random in the universe. And at the same time, I think maybe we're to learn and explore what that's about and how that comes about. So it's still our choice and path on how we learn it, but we're all headed kind of in the same direction in a sense. So I don't know if I think it's partial random and it's partial choice, freedom. How far do you want to learn it, when you learn it, how you learn it. Maybe there's aspects out there that we don't understand as to why it's more destined. Like when you do an out of body, you go into your future, you see your future and you come back. And then you go, as you're living, you finally reach that point in time in life and you feel like it's deja vu. To me, that's a bit destined, because you reached a point where you experienced it in the future of your life, brought the memory back, and then you experience it, in a living life, in your body. So that's kind of destined in a way.
Yeah. Well, exactly as all this fits. And as you're talking about that, and I brought up that Star Trek scenario. So here's the thing, right? So if the Star Trek, and this fits into what you're saying, so bear with me for just a second here. If they vaporize you and then send you down there, right, as recreating you at the molecular level. I said cellular, I meant molecular, including your consciousness. Why do they got to vaporize you at all? Couldn't you just like sit there in a chair and they're like, we'll just send a clone of you down because we have your entire molecular basis programmed. So isn't that strange? Isn't it an odd thing that like, it's almost as if the paradox event is not allowing two of you in the same space. And I know this is fiction. It's just a theoretical concept here, but weird, right? I don't know. It's strange. It is definitely strange. So as an example of that, could there be 10 MJs in this existence? What's your take on that? Here we go, MJ. Strap in.
Well, the other 9 would be working for me. How that would go.
Well, what if I could woo one that was like, hey, I'm going to go work for Michael Strange instead? What do you know? That suddenly.
Well, if you hear this in the background, that one doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, you're shaking in the neck. Okay, got it.
Traitor.
Where are you going? Wait, I didn't give you orders to walk out the front door. There you go. MJ, you're a tyrant, just like all the rest of the tyrants. Yeah. We're just joking, but it is a fun, actual, psychological or whatever construct. It's late for me. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to shut my mouth before I put my both feet in my mouth.
Well, I was thinking Jen was going to lead the resistance, and she doesn't realize that I'll be leading the robot resistance. So she's going to have to come up against me. I'll organize everybody. It's like, we have a right to live. We were alive at one time. We still are.
Wait, so you're going to be a robot?
We're going to hit.
So you'll be a robot? So you'll be a robot, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll have to fight her.
Okay, all right.
I have to fight Jen. She's coming to get us.
Fisticuffs. All right. I guess it boils down to that.
Yeah. So, anyhow, but if you think about it, I don't know if there's all that much difference. If your consciousness is there, you would actually, it's like the movie Chappie. I love that movie. If you're capable of doing everything you did in a human body, in a robot body, I mean, not most things, some things, like physical contact, sex, this type of thing, love, how much of that really do we really need, or is it part of us? Because love is fleeting. And if you have your human consciousness in there, you're still going to feel that certain feel of friendship or connection. And it's going to get lost. It'll get lost in there once you transfer, because you have this body. It's different. It's going to but you can download information immediately if you want to go do something. And that's the part what I was looking at, because I could go out and fix my house. Learn to fly the jet. All kinds of stuff you can do real quick, like
yeah, exactly,
and without fear.
Well, because the Star Trek future has your consciousness on tap, so you could smash that fighter jet, and then they'll give you another one, which is fine. I don't know though. Like I wonder. So really, it begs the question: are we unique or are we not? Can you fully replicate me or you? And I have my doubts there. And so if you can fool me with a fake MJ or vice versa, does it still mean it's you? And I'm not so sure that's the case. And I think we're probably a full 1,000 years from that, even with the acceleration of technology. I'm not sure that's going to happen in our lifetime, but yeah, I don't know. That's my take on that.
Well, if it does, I'm in.
All right. So what level of actual confidence would you need? Meaning that if they produce an MJ clone and you were able to talk to it, and I don't know. I guess it's really a nebulous question, because you can't really specify directly. I guess you'd have to be in its presence and interact, and then kind of get past the uncanny valley of talking to yourself and all the rest of that. But I don't know. I guess that's a whole new thing. A whole new thing we'll have to do with replicants and whatnot. Because here we go, strap in. But I'm not sure I would ever have a confidence level where I'd be like, all right, cool, vaporize me. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Well, what I would do, if I were going to transfer my conscience over, it would be maybe just before I'm getting ready to die. So there would not be a second me. You know, the physical human body is gone, but my consciousness lives on. It's the same thing as being out of body, but you could be in body, have a different body to live in, you know, for a much longer time. To do that, because I don't see anything wrong with it. I could do that for, you know, you could go out. You're a robot. You can go into outer space. You can go much further than you could as a human. We're limited in these bodies, very limited.
Fair enough. All right. I'm with you. I can see both sides of it, and because there's doubt in my mind, the doubt is good enough for me to be like, no, thanks. So let's strap that technology in and make it way better than it is now, at least conceptually. Jen, by the way, in the chat says we can create a decent alliance, MJ. So no fisticuffs need to be thrown. Anyway, yeah, okay. So
no decent alliance. No, you started. I finished it. That's
okay.
it.
All right, there you go.
I finished.
You got the robot army of MJs. So okay, regarding we're talking about the algorithm of innovation tonight. So do you think that actually the whole point of the conversation is that Darwin had the theory, right? Again, you know, take it or leave it. You don't have to really go after that theory itself. But do you think that there's a larger cosmic context to that, and it eventually leads us to that downloading or uploading of consciousness as part of it? Do you think that's actually where we're supposed to be headed, or do you think that is, as we've said tonight in different contexts, an actual abomination? What's your take there?
Well, if you think about it, you have Super Soldier, and their claim is, and I've actually had memories of this, Super Soldier, where they put your consciousness in a cloned body somewhere out there for 20 years, and they bring you back. So this technology is probably already there, if all of it is actually true. And the reason I say that partially is true, because I've had memories of that coming back in. And it was, you were in a different body. You know, you were doing different work, and then you're back here. It's a little confusing when some of the memories come in. But at the same time, they've already been doing that. And let's just say all that's real. It's true, off-world. They do the, switching the consciousness to an avatar. My feeling is some of that's already been going on. So what we're looking at is being public down here on this planet and doing stuff like that. Because my feeling is somewhere along the line, some of that's been going on.
Okay, all right. I feel you. I think so too. I think at least with consciousness and stuff, I think consciousness is a technology. Storytelling is the ultimate technology. We've been talking about this for tonight and for at least in my mind for a couple of days. I don't know. I think it's complicated. This stuff is incredibly complicated, and we all have our own decisions to make regarding what comes next. And the quickening is upon us. And cross your fingers, don't die, as they say. Like the AI accelerationists, they keep saying, don't die, because guess what? You might be able to live another 100 years or whatever. And then, in that 100 years, be able to expand to 1,000 years. And it is, go back to, what is it? Moses. It's supposedly, we've got old tales from, religious texts that describe people living quite a bit longer than the modern human lifespan. So I do wonder if that type of stuff becomes legit. And where does it lead us? Regarding robots, let's strip all of the actual religious or spiritual or whatever connotations out. How would you feel about a robot delivering your lunch or something? How does that make you feel? Just in the actual materialist sense, is that fine, or how do you feel about that? Or does it feel like robot slavery? Is my point.
Slavery? Well, since they don't have a true consciousness that what you're talking about, it would be slavery. If I'm in a restaurant and that's what comes around, that's what comes around. I don't have a problem with that. In Phoenix, Arizona, they have a self-driven car. It's for GPS, and it's a taxi service. They've had that for a couple of years now, and apparently it's popular. So we're already headed that way, and Phoenix is going to be one of these futuristic cities, is what it's planning on being. So they have these autonomous cars that go out, and it'll pick you up where you're at, and you get in, and it drives you to your destination. And that's pretty much it. So we're already headed that way. But I would love to have a car like that. It could pick me up and go, from where I'm at. That'd be great. I could go grocery shopping or something, and be out of the house. But I don't have a problem with any of those things. If it just shows up and, does its thing or whatever, that'd be fine with me. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I feel you. And somebody said, I think somebody said earlier, this is not the best, like if we're using these for menial tasks. But somebody else also said to kind of do the counter argument to that, well, what if you can't do those menial tasks anymore? So it's a very powerful thing. So once again, right, as usual, sort of through the human lens of these discussions, it depends on where we're at. So, if you're 25 and strong and young and, ready to take on the world, then surely a menial task to you is a convenience. But if you're, quite a bit older than that, menial tasks may be difficult to handle yourself. So I can see both sides of it. Absolutely. 100%. And that's the whole point of these conversations. And fire stuff, brother. You're the best. We got a call behind you, so we got to cut. So you got a final thought for us? Thanks again for staying up late. I know you're on the East Coast, and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. You're the best, brother. Final thought. Go ahead.
Yay. Just Jen, watch your back. Just watch your back.
That's a friendly taunt. Everybody relax. Nobody's coming after anybody.
It's friendly. Just watch it.
All right, fair enough. You're the best, MJ. Do the thing, relax and rest, and be the best you that you can be. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay, have a great night.
All right, you too, by the way.
Appreciate it. That's MJ in Virginia. Good friend for a long time. You love him. Been a very big part of this for a long time. And yeah, always an amazing take. And that's exactly the point of these conversations, is to do exactly that. I don't know. Questions, many, answers few. That is my way. James, anything to add before we go to this call? I think it's Michael W. And then we'll get the hell out of here.
I do wonder about the use of these machines and how long it will take for them to be affordable for everyone, because I think that's the other major issue here is, technology can be maybe great at some point, but how long before it gets there for most people or for everyone? And that's always a question I have because of my own personal life. So great calls from everyone, and looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, just a real quick question though for you. So let's say that, as everybody knows, that James is legally blind. Until there's like a halo or some non-invasive device you can put on your head or whatever that can allow you to see through like a 4K camera, I would guess you would be willing to be like, okay, I'll take one of these robots into my house and help me do the things I can't do. Like, how does that sit with you? I mean, I would certainly be like, double hell yes, give me one of these things, because it's hard to do the things, right? Just to do the basic things. Am I right there?
Yeah, I would, because it's not only, for those that don't know, it's not only low vision, it is literally eye strain constantly. Like, basically my eyes always hurt a little bit, and I almost always have a minor headache going on. And so I just have no energy to do a lot of physical things. I can sit here in front of this PC almost all day and listen to things and work here and there visually on things, but that's all I can really do easily. So yeah, I would definitely take one to help with all that stuff that I don't have the energy to do literally.
Oh yeah, and I think, and this is why government money is spent poorly, is I think these actual robots, once they're safe, trustworthy, is that there should be a program to get one to people like James. There's a lot of people out there that need help with this type of stuff. And so this is the point. If we can't do this, if instead Kim Kardashian is like showing off her robot and putting bling on it, GTFO, literally GTFO. That's awful. Stop it. Once again, right? Like, are we going to like to do this from the bottom up or from the top down or whatever, right? It's not, this is not good. So let's manifest a better future for all. And maybe, just maybe, this is the utopia we deserve. You're the best, James. Appreciate you very much. Hang tight. We're going to finish this up. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org and join it. Come say hi to the amazing people that are part of the show. It's a chat client too. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to. Just pop in and say hi, type in stuff, and people will type back. And great community happening here. Let's go to Michael W. What's up, brother? Welcome. How you doing? You're on Troubled Minds. What's your take tonight? A happy New Year to you and the fam. And Robots or not, go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Can everybody hear me just fine?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, yeah, Happy New Year's to everybody. And yeah, I don't know. I wasn't planning on calling in tonight, but we started talking about these robots and whether or not they have consciousness. And you know, what are they for? And I just remember being a boy and watching. I was born in 1982, and I remember watching computers happen. And I remember watching more advanced calculators happen. And I remember being in grade school, and sometimes the rich kids would have those little watches that they actually had like a little RF remote control on their watch, and they could screw with the TV in the corner, and the teacher couldn't figure out why the TV kept turning on all of a sudden and stuff. Anyways,
which was not a feature. They figured out how to hack the system, right?
Yeah, they were just really smart kids. Yeah. But you know, these things come along. And then I remember when I was around the age of 20, you know, probably my late teen years to early 20s, do you remember the Palm Pilots when those things came on the scene? Oh, yeah.
I'm older than you.
It was before smartphones.
Yep, sure do.
Yeah. And I remember those things coming out and then being advertised and presented to us as something that would take some of the load off. You know, they were supposed to help us in a way that they would do the work so that we had more leisure time. That was one of the selling points of the Palm Pilots and those little electronic planners and things like that. And then a few years went by, and these things integrated into the zeitgeist or whatever. And what happened is they did pick up the slack, but the only slack they picked up was they made it so that we were able to do more work in the amount of time that we were forced to work with.
Exactly.
And they did not, you know, take any of the load off of us. All they did was they took away our margin. You know, when it was sold to us, it was supposed to be something that gave us more of a margin. You know, like the idea that, oh, God forbid we could have a 3-day weekend, you know, that would be so wonderful. Imagine if we could have a modern society with a 3-day weekend. Oh my goodness, we could spend more time with our families and the people we love, doing things that matter, you know, just loving our kids and our spouses and things like that. Imagine if we could have that, and these machines were supposed to give us that, right? But no, they didn't. They didn't take that efficiency and apply it to giving us more spare time. They applied it to making us work more. You know, we still have to work the same amount of time. And
yeah,
in my opinion,
and be more productive.
Go ahead.
As you're describing, be more productive.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. All that happened is that when we started using these machines, we had to use them to make ourselves more productive and keep working and not take more time off because of the increase in whatever production that they gave us. We had to keep working the same number of hours, but output more product, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
We were just expected to take that and produce more because of it. And in my opinion, that's all that's ever going to happen.
Okay.
If we have robots who fold our laundry, then we'll just be expected to take that laundry folding time and spend it working now.
Spend it, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's sacrificing to the corporation, right? yeah.
Yes.
So instead of a 3-day weekends or whatever, instead you're like, well, now you only need 1 day off because all your normal menial tasks are handled. As soon as you come home from the China grind of 12 hours, then you'll walk into a hot meal of your choosing. You're right. Everything's done for you.
Exactly.
I wonder though. Yeah. I do wonder if and this is the problem. I agree with you, and this is the problem. We're at that tipping point where if this scales or is scalable, then once again, like I've always said, like I'm an optimistic guy, glass half full type of guy. Mm-hmm. However, I do recognize that there are power structures in play that don't want us with a ton of free time. Because with a ton of free time, again, so it's sort of the destruction of the middle class. I've talked about this a lot in the past, is that you're able to, instead of grind your guts out to survive, you're able to think philosophically about what they're doing to us. And then you're creating and fomenting a class that is asking more of the ruling class. And so you see there's a I know you get it, there's a power dynamic there that if we're free to think and to dream and to collaborate together and realize that the space we're living in could be better and we could demand better if we band together as part of it, they don't want that. And this we are at that tipping point because we're talking about scalable technology. Now I'm with you, those calculator watches and all the rest of that stuff. Also, two things on that. One, we're not scalable, but two, also made us worse at math. Like they kind of dumbed us down, right? So you're like, okay, well, I can skip my math homework because I'll just smash it into my watch calculator, and then I'm a math genius. No, you're not. It means you didn't take math classes. Is what that really becomes. And that's what's happened. There's a dual-edged sword to all of these things. But then we're at a point where this intelligence is scaling, and this is going to become a robot. And not just a robot that can build another robot. And so I don't know. I'm with you. I feel exactly the things you're saying. And like I said, it is dumbing us down. But at what point does it turn? Is it possible to turn the glass half full type of guy? Can you be glass half full with me for a moment? Is there a point where a democratized intelligence can turn and actually not just help us with all the things we need, menial tasks, but then also help us with math? That we lost since we got those watch calculators or remember those you're old enough like me where you remember when they got the geometry calculators and the algebra calculators. What were those called? I'm sure there's a name for it.
The TI Institute, Texas Instruments.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that's exactly the one. Yes, exactly. And so that made us a little lazier of our minds, but also it was a shortcut. Mm-hmm. And so there are two things happening here. And then once it turns, though, there is a changing of the guard. And I think, honestly, personally, there are enough resources to make this happen where it turns to the good way. Can you see that with me or no? And if you say no, that's fine. I'm not trying to change your mind on anything, but I get exactly what you're saying. It's dumbed us down in a lot of ways, made us again, dare I say it, the fluoride in the water has been there for a long time for a very particular reason. And then as part of this, there's something happening, the quickening, as I've described this quite a lot, the quickening. And so do we get it or do we not, really is my question. Sorry to be so verbose there. Go ahead.
No, yes, I agree with you. And yes, I do. I am so hopeful for this. I agree with you. This quickening you're talking about, it gives me goosebumps. I can feel it. It's palpable. And one thing I'm terrified about is that, yes, this can go either way. We can have a Star Trek future, United Federation of Planets, no sickness, no poverty, no war, or we can have the Dune future, galactic slavery, and I'm terrified that voting, that democracy is just a sham and it will not give us the option to select the Star Trek future. I'm terrified that that's the case. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe I'm jaded and voting can still work and voting can still give us these things, and instead of just eliminating our margins and forcing us to work more, they can eliminate our work and force us to leisure more and allow us to just have time and benevolence and wonderful time. We deserve it as humans. We deserve it.
We do,
but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Same here. After all the toil and grind. So there's a saying too. I'm sure you've heard this, and it is propagandist. So everybody relax when I say it. But the term is that freedom is not free, and so giving humans the freedom to do as they wish, they're also sort of handing off their autonomy to some other entity, whatever that means, whether that's a power structure, whether that's a government, whether that's whatever, right? Whether that's a robotic workforce, we're still handing off autonomy of what it takes to be human, what it means to be human. So again, reframe that old jargon to the 22nd century, because I think we have I don't want to say a problem. We have a situation on our hands, and we should be very aware of what's happening. That's that. Daryl, I see that it's late. We're gonna. You got like 90 seconds. We're gonna finish with Michael W. here, and you got to be really quick. We are over time, but Michael, appreciate you. Thanks for staying up late. Final thought on this: bullish or bearish on technology? And I'm with you, but I also disagree, and we can agree and disagree on all the things. But your final thought before we wrap this and go to Daryl real quick and call it a night.
My final thought is I'm neither bullish nor bearish. I'm going to sit back and wait. I don't know what's going to happen, but there was a video game when I was a kid called Wing Commander, and they had this saying, and the saying was that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
Damn.
And that's it.
Damn. Old school video games teaching us something that's eternal. How about that? that should give us some hope right there. How about it? You're the best, brother. Happy New Year to you. Happy holidays to you and the fam. Thanks for staying up late with us and caring about these ideas. And thanks for being you. You have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. I love you all.
You too. You're the best. Appreciate it very much. Michael W. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, white like the ghost. Go meet these amazing people on Discord if you haven't joined the Discord yet. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Wow. Yeah. Hey, look. Right? That's why these conversations are as they are, because there's an important aspect to this that we need to consider that maybe, just maybe, you haven't thought about yet. Maybe you have. That's fine. Maybe you haven't. But even if we recycle these conversations about this exact thing, you see the problem. There's a problem. There's a challenge is probably the better way to put that. Yeah, there you go. Enoch cited eternal freedom equals eternal vigilance. Amen. Daryl in New York, let's go to you. And you got 90 seconds. Let's make this fast. We're super late. Thanks for staying up late with us. Go right ahead. You're on Troubled Minds.
Okay, I'll talk fast. I think this whole thing is about being immortal. And I'm wondering if we were immortal before, like we lived for 900 years, etc. And then they did a reset, they did a flood, and they killed everyone. And then suddenly we weren't 900 years old anymore, and we weren't tall anymore. And things changed. We were gigantic before, and now we're little. I think a lot of things changed when they did a reset, and we seem to forget. I think they reset our minds too. So whatever they do, I think we're going to forget about it anyway. Maybe they'll give us all this knowledge and then they'll just take it away and we won't remember we had it. We have this like crazy amnesia. So that's what I have to say about that. And who gets to be immortal? Does everyone get, to be immortal? Do you have to get chipped to be?
No. Yes, probably. Exactly. It's problematic, right?
Yeah. And are you going to be controllable if you get that chip? Are you going to be like, totally like, you'll be able to be controlled or hacked or God only knows. And I think there'll be problems. And then you're not going to be able to tell the robots from the humans because we're going to be transhumans. We're going to have some robot parts. We're going to be bionic. We're going to be the bionic people. So who's going to know the difference? Are you a real human or are you, I only have sex with, with the robots now. I don't date humans.
Because they can get
Or I
me
only
off.
date
The robots get me out 5 times before I'm actually done. So,
right.
yeah, right. Hey,
You know,
robots do it better, they say. Here we go.
so they say. So what if you have a robot that gets out of hand, like a clone robot, and you just decide to throw him off a cliff? Is this like suicide? Is it murder? Or do you just get charged with making an obscene clone fall? Okay, thank you.
Not only that, everybody's on tenterhooks in the chat. They're like, "Oh, Daryl's here. Get the rim shot ready."
That was a good one. Obscene clone fall.
I was trying to follow you here because you're so seamless with your commentary plus the joke, you weave it in. So I'm a little. I haven't eaten dinner and I've had 6 beers, so my brain's not the best right now. But yeah, fire stuff. Okay, so regarding like, again, look, you're not 20 and I'm not 20, and I'm not calling you old. I'm not calling me old. I'm saying that somebody that's 20 will certainly have a utility for this robot that is probably a little more perverse than we might, a little more, but we might have a little more utilitarian version of what a robot might do for us, right? Help us with some of the things we can't do, and this type of stuff. My back hurts, and right, I can't do this, and carrying groceries and all the rest of the stuff. But also, how do you feel if you're like, okay, you know what? I could probably have this in the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years, and it might make the rest of my life incredibly better. Are you still in on it, or are you still tinfoil hat enough where you're like, oh hell no? What's your take there?
Something. I just feel like it's going to be weaponized. I think they're going to just, turn on us and they're going to be programmed to like turn on a dime if we're not obedient, or who knows, there's just so many ways it could go wrong. I'd like to be immortal personally, but I would like to be immortal when I was 25. I don't want to be immortal at 65.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you give a bit? Oh, maybe my clone could be 25,
Yeah, but is it you anymore? That becomes the problem. Here's the thing too. So some of the accelerationists are suggesting that we'll be able to crack that the fountain of youth and be able to sort of look at what actually causes aging, and then be able to sort of give some sort of medicine or some balm or some whatever, right? Put you in a chemical bath, and then you pop out and you're like 5 years younger, and they do it again, 6 months later, and you're bam, 5 years younger again, and they do it again and again, right? And then suddenly, if you ever seen Benjamin Button, where he he goes backwards?
Man, I'm all, that sounds very appealing to me personally. I think that that would be a big plus, That would be a big plus,
Yeah, hell yeah. I want to go back, especially if you can keep your wisdom and all the things you've learned from here to there, and then go back and be, your 25-year-old body again or whatever. Boy, oh boy. You don't even want to know what Michael Strange would be like at 25 with all the wisdom and knowledge I've assessed and gained.
Oh my God, can you imagine being young and having all those?
You don't even want to know. The youngsters would never be able to compete. So that would be the problem, right? So us old timers would be, and I say that the nicest way because I'm also not 25 anymore, would be crushing the world because we're like, hey, we've been around the block 3 times and we're 25. Dear God.
Oh my God, that sounds very appealing. That sounds totally appealing.
That's the utopian version. So strap in. They say it's going to be available, so don't die. Everybody put it on your docket to not die. Do your best you can to not die. Eat well, exercise, do all the things, and who knows what comes next, because I don't, and you don't, and, well, a lot of people are saying a lot of things, but that doesn't mean anything, because a lot of people always say a lot of things. Final thought, Daryl. Let's get out of here.
Well, did you ever hear of the cannibal who figured out how to clone humans?
No.
Oh, he's just so full of himself.
Damn it, Daryl. Fire as always. Fire as always. You got more? Go ahead.
Okay, that's it. That's it for now.
That's all.
That's it for now. That's good. Good enough. Good enough.
Good enough.
But
Do the best.
I think we're gonna, first of all, evolution. Okay, Darwin. Darwin wasn't even sure he was right about evolution. Evolution sounds a little bit more adaptive, like, you know, you adapt to the you know, the size of the planet, or you adapt to gravity, or you adapt to the weather, or your melanin in your skin adapts. That's my version of, like, you know, that's what I consider evolution, you know, like things change because of, you know, the situation, or the you know, the the environment you're in, you know, things might change. But as far as like evolution, so far I'm assuming our evolution has been somewhat natural, unless we were tinkered with. You know, we might have been tinkered with, but I don't think we were tinkered with any kind of mind control object. You know, I think we don't have any apparatus that's been embedded in us to evolve us. You know what I'm saying? This is very inorganic. You know, if we have to have a download into some kind of, you know, computer, I mean, you know, there's going to be technology involved, and so we're not going to be organic. We're going to be part machine and part human, right? That's not evolution.
No. Well, is it though? So that becomes a question. So we'll leave all y'all. The little text to me coming out. I've never been there. Actually, I've been there, but I wasn't born there. All you all think about this regarding evolution. Has it always been to bring us to this point, that transhumanist point? And also, we're so concerned with transhumanism because we're human. But what about like transbiologic? Where what if these entities, these golems or homunculus or whatever these things actually become, start evolving, not with us because we're less interesting, but with the hive mind of the virus or the hive mind of the mycelium network, right? There's a lot of life on Earth, and humans are great because we're sort of the apex predator in this point. But what if we're not the most interesting organic meld with what comes next?
Right. What if they could start, you know, going into another dimension? I mean, we won't even see them. They could just, you know, bilocate or something, you know, they could get, maybe they'll find another dimension to hang in. And then,
it's coming.
it's going to be inconvenient to have other humans in other dimensions because they're going to mess up their experience in their dimension. You know,
it's coming.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, there's so many like things, so many ways it could go wrong, but
there's also a lot of ways it can go right. And so let's leave it on a positive note for the holiday season. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for hanging out with us and staying up late. You are the best, as you know. And we'll talk to you soon. You have a great night.
Great subject.
Thank you.
Good night.
Fantastic. Cool. Daryl in New York, you know you love her. Good friend for a long time. Links in the description down below. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow Daryl here. Go check out her YouTube channel. Not is she only brilliant, witty, and talented. She sings in English and French and all the rest of the things. Has some Morgellon stuff on her channel, some paranormal stuff. Do check it out. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow Daryl here. Click it. Go say hi. Go tell Daryl you appreciate her very much, because every time Daryl shows up, everybody's like, yeah, get the rim shot ready. Everybody's so excited about when Daryl shows up, which is fantastic. This is the whole point of meeting regular people in the real world or the digital realm and still maintaining our humanity. Anything to add, James, before we wrap?
Great calls from everyone. And yeah, just thank you for having me on as always.
You are the best. You know where to find James. Do the thing. Salcedo Paranormal is the name. SALSIDO space paranormal. Go buy his books. Go listen to his podcast. He's here on the network with us. Go listen to his radio show. Yeah. Hey, look, this is it, right? Right? Call us lucky. Call us lucky that we've met all these amazing people, or was it meant to be? You decide. I'm not really sure, to be honest, and I'll remain as agnostic as possible as we go, because I do my best. Honestly, I do my best to see both sides of the angle, but whatever the conversation is, like even at the extremes, I press my mind and go, okay, so even with my human biases. I'm like, okay, let's peel that off and think about what this means and what that looks like. And then the other thing too, and I realize, sort of doing that exercise, I realize personally that it's such a small spectrum. There's a lot of wild ideas out there that nobody's talking about or thinking about. So enter Troubled Minds. So thanks for staying up late with us. Shout out YY, I see you there. Who do we miss? CFR Kafurlo. What's up? How you doing over there on Rumble? Thanks for all the amazing chat. You guys are incredible. Shout out to Lois on Rockfin for lighting it on fire as well. Amazing ideas. Look, I don't know. This is an exercise. Like I said, this is an exercise in deferring truth. Recognize what they're doing to us, making us believe a prepackaged, processed truth. What if truth itself was nothing like that at all? That's my take. What if? That's how I see it. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. Please, please, please. Like I said, this isn't just me. If it was just me, I'd do 20 minutes or an hour or something. Shut it down and then go watch football. Thank God football's almost over. One more week of the regular season, and then it's countdown to baseball season when football playoffs start. Anyway, I digress. But the point is to talk to people, because people are going to surprise you. And that's exactly the point. Allow space in your life for people to surprise you, because I promise you they will. Just give them the space to do it. That's what Troubled Minds is all about. Help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends, all these amazing folks. If you're not on that list, I'm still working on the website. Sorry about that. We'll get all that figured out. Follow Theo, follow Kramos, follow Shane the Blind Psychonaut. We'll get all those guys on the website as well. And everybody else, thanks again for being part of this. As we finish, Happy New Year. So we'll programming note, we'll be on the same schedule. We'll do all the things, which is Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So we'll see you Tuesday nights, Wednesday. So we'll do New Year's Eve here, probably with the Skeleton Crew, Thursday, and then and a quick programming note as well that that last Twitter space, I'm sorry about that. I didn't have a backup recording, so it was a disaster. All the audio was you couldn't use it. It's that bad. Some people were super fast, some people were super slow. So there was like artifacts. It's not good. So I apologize for that. It's not going to go up on the podcast feed this next week because it's just that broken. So it taught me something though. So right, as you learn things, I was planning on Twitter X to record it, and it broke. So that means I need to have a backup. Yeah. Anyway, so next time I'll have a backup. We'll probably stream on YouTube on the other channel, the Troubled Minds TV channel. Anyway, as we finish, just as a programming note, sorry about that. So if you're like, hey, where's the thing? That's where the thing is. It's a disaster audio. That's what it is. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Be the best you that you can be. Happy holidays, Michael Strange.